Welcome home to the native, landing on a podcast space destined for greatness. 60 minutes or so hit, not too long for the grave shift. High level combo, politics in a way that you could taste it, then digest it. Politics touches you even if you don't touch it, so get invested. Cross the T's and dot the I's, Gillum back to get 'em, stand on business with Rye. You could have been anywhere, but you chose us. Native Land Podcast, the brand that you can trust. Yes.
Welcome home, y'all.
Welcome home.
Here.
It's Native Land Pod here with the Breakfast Club.
Here.
Hey. We are your hosts. I'm Angela Rye.
Andrew Gillum.
Tiffany Cross.
Lenard McKelvey.
DJ Envy.
Oh, you know,
Loren La Rosa.
Where we at?
HU.
That other HU.
Yeah.
Hey,
Not,
that's it.
not DJ Envy's HU.
Nah, they got the HU.
Yes,
A Howard person would say the real HU, but I just represented for Howard.
We don't have
It's all
to.
HBCU love tonight.
all
We
love
got a lot of
tonight.
HBCU
Yes.
love on the panel tonight. We
We
were
should
at
do a
FAMU
roll
before.
Actually, we should do a roll call. What we got?
Roll call.
CAU.
The Florida A&M University FAMU.
I have an honorary doctor from Wiley College.
I got an honorary doctorate from South Carolina State University.
There
Go
it is.
Bulldogs.
The real HU Hampton University.
Delaware State University is in the building.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
How much student loan debt up here though? Let's talk about that.
I ain't got none, brother. It's all out.
There you go.
I was in state and Obama was in, you know what I mean? So he took care of us. I was real, real good.
That's good.
But now we're on the campus of the Howard University, and I got to tell you, I think I was feeling like tonight was going to be significant in the first place, but to have the first time that a college campus is used in an election night victory for any candidate for president over the history of this country has never happened before. And the first time it happens, it happens on the grounds of a historically black college and university. The first, for many, the founding place for almost every black Greek organization. And I think a model for many HBCUs around the country, just excellent academics, excellent athletics, music, culture, access to government. It's an incredible school, a great representation of HBCUs.
Even though what's happening here tonight, we saw before we came on live with you guys, the homecoming court walk down, and we saw the young students in their crowns and, their royal regalia, and it felt like Wakanda come to life. And I think for any of us who attended HBCUs, you hear people say, oh, I wish Wakanda was real. Well, it was real for us during that time. And I feel that here tonight, the Divine Nine just did a universal step show on stage, and then there's a lot of strolling happening. And I'm thinking about the people on the press risers who don't look like us, who are probably quite confused.
They're probably like, what is going on this stumping?
Everyone's jumping around with excitement for Harris tonight.
They are jumping around for excitement for her, but also it feels spiritual out here. And I will just say, this is going to be the blackest election night coverage you have today. This is a joy. It feels like a family reunion to be with y'all. And in such a remarkable place. I have watched Breakfast Club soar politically, you guys engage and have talked to so many candidates, and it was a necessary stop. Now it's a requirement. You guys, for the first time, are doing election night coverage, and I gotta know how it feels.
I don't know yet. I'm waiting to see if praying grandmothers, because I believe in praying grandmothers.
Yes,
There's a whole lot of praying grandmothers all across the country tonight.
Yes.
So we're going to see. Because if things don't go the way we want them to go, we're going to have to think twice about the praying grandmother thing.
Oh, my God.
We won't have to think twice about that.
You got every black grandmother in America praying right now. Every single one.
Yeah.
Everyone?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, God gave us choice, though.
You were so confident earlier. What happened?
Oh, I'm still confident.
Okay.
But where are we right now? Because people are texting my phone and people are saying things like, should we be panicking? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's early.
It's early.
It's so early.
Polls haven't
early
closed
to
in some
call.
places,
That's
right. And the likelihood of us knowing who the next president is tonight is really slim. You'll recall in 2020, we didn't know until the Saturday after Tuesday's election. And so I would temper expectations here that we will have a result
we'll know
tonight.
some things, even if we don't have the total results from every state. Certain precincts perform certain ways in states. For instance, in my state, I can tell you where the red ones are going, the super ruby red ones will be.
Florida.
And if they are less than that, if the red is not as dark, meaning it's a light pink, which means some of those voters in those red districts have gone over and voted blue in those places, diminishing the power of of the Republican voters. So
Somebody told me Dade
hopeful to
County
that.
came through for Trump tonight, though.
Dade County has come through, unfortunately, the last 3-4 cycles for the Republicans.
I just want to say
Cuban.
that I asked the Breakfast Club folks how they felt about
They
doing
feel good. They talk about it.
But no, only one talked about it. We ain't
Oh,
getting Emmy or Lauren. I just want to make sure.
I would say this. It's a feeling that it feels like a family reunion. Like Lauren and I went on the yard. We were partying with the students, with the alumni, and it's not just Howard University students. It's all HBCUs. I mean, we've seen people from FAMU. We've seen people from North Carolina A&T. We see some Hampton University people, some Morgan State people, and they're just excited. They feel like they're seen finally.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity just to be there with them. Like it's like no other. Like I thought it was like homecoming, but this is better than a homecoming feeling. So I'm really enjoying the moment. What about you, Lauren?
I feel like I had ran into
We went to
Don't you know
Lauren.
what to drink
Tell us
that,
how you
Lauren?
know.
You look like you know what to drink that.
Shut up.
I'm listening.
Hold on, wait.
Lauren.
Because how about
You know
when you said
you do too much. Go ahead. I'm listening, Lauren.
I can't act up because Angela right up here. Because when you said that, I look like who? Who knows where?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
y'all gotta be careful.
You
'cause
back.
you gonna end up.
Okay.
Carry on, Lauren.
Anyway, I was
Keep
down
it up,
when we were
guys.
walking
Keep it up.
back from the yard. I saw April Ryan. I was like, oh my God, it's April Ryan. And I was like, I'm gonna go over and say hi to her. And when I went over, and we were talking. She came up here. She said the same thing. She was like, black media feels seen because it's like they in our home right now.
Yes.
Anybody who doesn't look like us tonight, we got to explain what is happening, what is breaking down.
Yeah.
And, she's been on the Hill for a very long time. She's been holding it down. And a lot of times she goes to battle with people who don't look like her. So she's like, oh, it's reversed now.
She was literally the only black representation we had in the White House press room for a long time. So you are watching Black History happen already, Lauren. We love it. So one of the things that I think we should address is this whole electoral college versus popular vote thing. A lot of people have been asking questions about that. We got some smart folks up here who taking that on. Tiffany Cross look like she's ready.
Well, I honestly think that is something I'm looking out for tonight.
Yeah.
I think there will be, I've long said on NLP that I am anticipating political violence. I think the violence will happen in the courts, and I think there will be violence in the streets. Already we've seen fake electors in Wisconsin, people who have been election deniers put in positions of authority. We'll see tonight if Republican governors if the election results did not go their way, will they certify results? We are at a time.
Of course they won't.
Well, we don't know. We'll see. We are at a time where we are really questioning, will people accept election results they don't like? Now, I will point out the slithering example out of Georgia when Donald Trump did ask the Secretary of State there to fine him 11,000 votes. Those Republicans said no. Right now, the election deniers have been elevated in their roles of power. When we saw the insurrection here in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital on January 6th, this is a unique space. We have over 30-plus law enforcement agencies. When you consider electors out in some of these jurisdictions, they don't have that same level of protection.
Well, let me ask you a question. Can you break down for like even my kids wanted to know, why did they have an electoral college? Why was it created? Like, everybody says the popular vote should win, but it was created for a particular reason. Can you explain why it was created for people that don't know?
Yes,
So
it was about.
don't have no voting power.
Precisely. it was honestly that really is what it was. The enslaved were literally used.
Well, the electoral college was put into place because they feared
the balance
more
of power.
populated states, the bigger states, the New Yorks of the time, the Pennsylvanias of the time, would basically use their populations to Bigfoot all of the agrarian areas, all the farmers. These are the planting class, the people who had the money. They didn't
mostly southern states, but it was mostly southern states.
They were mostly southern states who were afraid that northeastern states' populations would overtake them. Right? So the framers, we didn't have Confederates yet. The framers at the time established that they would appropriate based off of populations and then allotting respective states to receive votes that they would then cast those votes in an electoral college convention for whoever would be president.
I do want to point out they did not have the Confederacy, but they had Confederate mentality already, and electoral college is a vestige of slavery and is absolutely racist to the foundation.
So it preceded slavery.
That's not true. It's 1619.
It preceded slavery's ending is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yes, but
So
And
this
weren't
country-
they
That's
split
not
over
the
the
point.
fact?
The country didn't
Don't play with
conceive
the
of
vibe
ever
here.
having to give votes to black people.
that's right.
They didn't conceive of it, so
That's
they
so-
didn't
And,
do the
and,
electoral
and
process
weren't
for
they
that
split over the fact? Didn't some of them want the popular vote, but then some of them wanted Congress to
That's-
be able to decide the president?
They
They-
wanted electors.
They wanted the people to inform who the delegates would be to the convention to decide the president.
So why can't we get rid of it now? Like that was a
Exactly.
long
Well, that's
time
an
Because
ago.
there will be a constitutional
Because it's
amendment,
many of
and we
y'all
don't
Negroes
believe
still.
Republicans will allow basically the Electoral College to be
the
demolished
new
because they have more
Confederates.
power.
Gotcha.
They have more power into that system. Iowa, none of us are moving there.
Right.
That state will remain what it looks like, and
Right.
therefore they're going to continue to be able to Bigfoot over states. Like there's no reason California that basically half the vote that comes out of the state means nothing.
Andrew, how big of a deal was the Iowa poll this week that came out?
Big ass deal.
Okay.
It's a big deal because the last president to win the state of Iowa was Barack Obama. And again, at that time, it was by close margins. They were just polled 6 months before, and Donald Trump had a 27-point lead. To look now and see that she crept up to potentially 3 points ahead of him in a 3-point, margin of error is incredible. And it's
Wow.
likely because of the abortion ban that was implemented in that state has had now almost 6 months at a go, and people don't like what they're seeing.
Right.
But we're saying it's incredible, and yes, it is incredible in terms of what we know about the country. But I want to punctuate that point with, it is fucking incredible that she is in competition with this half-witted man. With
Yes.
everything he has done, the fact that the race is this close
Right.
is a travesty. I'm so proud as a black person, and particularly a black woman, to see the most qualified woman who has worked in every branch of government, the executive, the legislative. Well, she hasn't worked in the judicial, but she was on the
Yes, she
Senate
was.
Judiciary
She's a-
Committee. So
as an attorney, she's
right. She
a front of
had
the court.
yes, precisely. So she had a role in the judiciary branch as well. This man has no plans, no experience. His first job in government was as president of the United States, and the race is this close. So I trust that America will do the right thing tonight. But I've been saying either way, America will get the president they deserve tonight.
Yes. And
So
that's what, go ahead, Lauren.
I was going to ask you, so with everything that you just said, right, it being that close, when Kamala wins, what is she up against? Because we talk about a lot about, like,
Yeah.
you still got to challenge
Yeah.
your person that you want to win. You still got to, what is she up against? Because there's a lot of people, because that margin is close, that are like, she shouldn't be there. What does that look like? What does the first day out look like, first week out?
Well, she's going to have to use her executive power on day one. We'll have to see what the legislative branch looks like. What will Democrats, right, what will Democrats control? Will Democrats control the Senate? Will Democrats control the House? I will jump out and say I think Democrats will take the House, which will give us another historic position in
Right.
making Congressman from Brooklyn, Hakeem Jeffries, the first black Speaker of the House. The first black male
Amazing.
Speaker of the House. So I can imagine that there are some pockets of conservative America that will lose their mind, and I
Right.
think she'll be if the Republicans control the Senate, it can be a deadlock. I mean, because that is the courts, that's where you confirm justices. So it can be challenging. On the other side of that, though, she will also have to confront demands on the left. She's made some strange bedfellows in bringing coalitions together this cycle, and she has extended herself to Republicans. She has promised Republicans positions in the cabinet. She's promised to have a bipartisan legislation. And so I think on our side, as people who support her,
Yeah.
for sure, we still have to hold her accountable to our agenda.
Absolutely.
And there are people who want, for sure, absolutely a ceasefire in Gaza. She's going to have to deal with that. The black man agenda that she put out, that was a plan. We
Not
want to see it
crazy.
executed.
Right.
So she will have her hands full on that.
I want to ask you about that, Tiff. If she loses, which I don't think she will, I don't know. But would that be a testament to, like, do big tent politics still work, or should you be focusing on niche groups?
You can't.
Because she brought together Republicans, she's brought together
Yeah.
progressives, she's brought together black men, Latino men. Do big tent politics still work, or should you be focusing on niche groups?
I think that is big tent politics to focus
I know.
on.
That's what I'm saying. If she
yeah.
loses, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I think should she lose, which again I don't think that's going to happen. Should she lose, I would say that the country has shown yet again that they do not want a black woman as president. Even when you see a lot of the exit polls and you're asking people, what are your issues that you care about? And you have people in Wisconsin saying immigration. What is your big immigration issue in Wisconsin? That is subtext to me for I don't want these black and brown people taking over the country. I think we have to look ahead and start moving in conviction. By the year 2044, there will be no racial majority in this country. So I think big tent politics includes all of us. And this is the time that we're seeing what does a government that is for the people, by the people, of the people look like when it includes all of us. Before, we would have to wait what the white folks going to do, how they going to vote. I think we have to let go of that frame of thought, and I think this election tonight will show that is an antiquated way of thinking, and moving forward, we finally have the privilege to vote with our convictions and not wait to be led by the white voting bloc in this country.
Charlamagne, I think the last time, we're in the last stages of why big tent politics.
Explain what that is for people that
You're right.
People
So
don't know.
typically,
Yeah.
if you're a Republican, you can rely on the fact that the color of your skin is largely going to be the prerequisite to you being a member of the party. That's why it is the whitest party of the two-party system. Democratic side, our coalition is built up in order to get to 50 plus 1, which is half plus one person or one vote. You've got to be able to, if the color of our skin is not the thing that unites us under one party, because we're not enough. We may get 11% of the population. We need the other 40 whatever to get us over. And so if the Democratic Party has to get a slice of the Latino community, we have to get a slice of the white female vote. We even have to earn a slice of white male votes in our coalition right now. LGBT, go beyond that and list all of the others. That's what the party's made up of, and its politics is about that complex.
Right.
Because you got to meet everybody where their need is. And unfortunately, right now, the conservative majority is still, quite frankly, close to 51%.
Yeah.
So they could vote together and still be able to hold this thing. But soon, and you've already pointed out, it won't be enough to just say we're in community because we're the majority, because we're all white.
Right.
They're going to have to do and say more to bring more people their direction in order for them to win elections. I'd like to ask y'all, as a call-in show, you get the voice from the American people very directly almost every single day.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'd love to hear, when did the tenor of your listeners begin to shift to a place where it was no longer just skeptical of a Kamala Harris, but it began to really embrace what a Kamala Harris presidency would look like? Maybe that's on the other side.
I don't know if they have yet. I still didn't feel that. Yeah, I still didn't feel that totally yet. Now,
I can tell you when it happened for me personally. I remember when it was first announced, I was talking to Charlamagne about it. I was like, I don't know if this is the way. Like, I was nervous because I felt like she had been pushed to the back behind Biden. I mean, she's VP, so she has to be there.
Right.
But I was like, I don't know if the push can be strong enough because it was such a great cloud over it. And then that first day, I was like, oh, like this was the answer the whole time, like just sitting right here. I saw the way that the world was reacting to her and just the momentum, and I felt like, okay, if she really knows her stuff, what she does, if she's really qualified, what she is, she has the background, what she does, all she needs is the platform, and now it's here. You know what I mean?
I think people realized when I think people started not liking Joe Biden, when they started seeing, I would say, early signs of dementia where he just didn't seem there.
No,
I would say that, and I think that was the truth. That's what I seen. I said,
that man ain't got dementia. I wish y'all would stop
I didn't say he had dementia. I said it's.
Well, we don't know if he does or doesn't.
It's given. There's something that
we don't know.
There was something happening there.
Something was happening, and it wasn't right. And I think people were looking for a way out. And when they seen Kamala, I think it was like, wow, she is what people are saying. And then when you get to talk to her and you start seeing her speak and seeing who she is.
I mean, he's not wrong. It was when that money started coming in. When she raised all that money the first day.
I'm trying to tell you.
Also, she locked up the delegates in 30 hours.
I'm like, I don't know if people realize, like, this don't be happening. It's like a black woman. Like, yeah.
Well, you guys, speaking of big tents, I think it's really important for us to recognize there was a big tent on the stage that was a powerful moment and a display of black unity. Normally, you see these folks at step shows, and it's a battle. It's a full-on battle. It's a full-on battle, and today we have them joining us. It is the D9, everybody, the Divine Nine. Y'all just come right here. Line up behind us. Y'all, come on. We
got the Alphas, the Kappas, the Deltas,
right here,
the Morrow, the Zeta, the Q.
Yay! A5A and
who I'm missing?
AKAs. All right, y'all. Look, you guys can line up in front of us.
AKAs. I'm missing one.
Wrap around and line up in front. Just watch that phone, honey. There you go. You're all good.
Hey, y'all.
You just can't fill in right here. I got him. So I'm gonna pass. This mic is on. I'm gonna pass y'all this mic. Talk to us about how you're feeling tonight. Yes, it's on.
Yes, you can.
Okay. No. Okay. Here we
Not
go.
on?
It's on. Is it on?
Is that one on?
It's on. Oh, she didn't hear me.
can't
Oh,
hear
the
you.
question was, how are you all feeling tonight?
We're good. We're feeling very excited.
Tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Imani Smith. I'm from Los Angeles, California.
All right, West Coast. All right, tell us how you feeling, y'all. We have another mic. Where is it, Lenard?
Right
I
here.
think this one's on.
Check.
It's on?
It's on now.
Yep.
You can just pass them down. Yes. There you go.
Hello, all. My name is Jamari Robinson. I'm a junior criminology and political science double major, military science minor from Columbus, Georgia, by way of Palm Beach, Florida. And I feel great tonight to see history be made.
I
All
love
right.
it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Marshall. I'm a senior health sciences major from the biggest city in the best city, Chicago, Illinois.
All right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Zaria Jones. I'm a junior human development major from Atlanta, Georgia.
TL.
Hey, Hotlanta.
Good.
Hi, my name is Taylor Beard. I'm a junior journalism major, business administration minor from Severn, Maryland.
All right.
Hey.
Good. Gentlemen, y'all still got the mic?
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to
Introduce yourself, brother.
Hi, Brandon McCaskill, junior finance major from Detroit, Michigan. I feel extremely excited about tonight. I think we're all very, very proud of our university and the products of it, and thankful to be here for sure.
Okay,
up,
Detroit.
Right.
You bossing up? Yep.
pass the mic, honey?
Hello, my name is Kirsten Branch, and I'm from Houston, Texas.
All right, H-Town.
Next fella, go ahead with the
Right.
mic. You got the mic.
Introduce yourself.
Introduce
Your name
yourself.
and where you from?
Where you from? How you
y'all
feeling
doing?
tonight?
My name is Makai Emanuel. I'm a junior sports medicine major, psychology minor from Queens, New York. I'm feeling
Queens,
great
New York.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hello, my name is Jaden Armand. I'm a senior journalism major, business administration minor from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Amazing.
What's up, y'all? My name is Joshua Jean-Louis. I am a graduating senior music education major, classical voice minor from Houston, Texas, by way of Lafayette, Louisiana.
All right, Lafayette.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. My
Just
name is
keep it
Devin
busy.
McDaniel. I am a senior finance major from Trenton, New Jersey.
All
All
right.
right. Did we get everybody?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kalia Leach. I am a senior public relations major, sports administration minor from Baltimore, Maryland.
Amazing.
There's a mic over there. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Bryce Facey. I'm a junior health science major, biology minor from Berkeley Heights, New Jersey.
How you doing? My name is Jordan Newsom. I'm a senior biology honors major, chemistry minor from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, New York is heavy over here.
Everybody introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chase Cubia. I am a junior finance major from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I think last but not least, hey guys, my name is Dylan Thomas. I'm a senior business major from Houston, Texas. Happy to be here.
All right, let's give it up for the Divine Nine.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome, y'all.
Kamala
How y'all
Harris
feel?
Collective.
How y'all
Faith
spirits
Leader.
feeling about the night?
To the mic, to the mic.
In the mic.
There's hope and there's fear. I think maybe equally so of both, but we're choosing to stay optimistic no matter what we're seeing because we've been over here with you guys. So I pray that everything is going well, but I think that with democracy on the ballot, it's super important that we have somebody that is standing as a beacon of hope in the same way that hopefully we're able to be.
There you go.
All right.
Easy. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's
Thank
give
you.
it up for the Divine Nine. All right. Well,
Bunch of
thank y'all so
Divine
much. We are going to be watching and praying with y'all, and we appreciate you joining Native Land Pod of the Breakfast Club. See you soon.
All righty.
All right.
Now I gotta ask you guys. Any of you guys
1,
pledge
2, 3.
while you're?
No,
No,
I'm
didn't
not
pledge. No.
No, there's no Greek
Charlotte,
panel
no.
tonight.
Lauren,
PDI.
no, no. Okay.
No, my brother is a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
I was Miss Black and
yeah.
Gold.
That's
Ah.
it. All right.
And you don't
Okay.
pledge.
Shout out to the Alpha.
He said Hampton is the white.
You want to
HQ.
step?
Ah,
They want to step.
Oh,
that
they
is
wanna stay?
hilarious.
Go ahead.
Oh, we
Oh, you
would
said
love it.
picture.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, you said they want to stay. We thought
That is
I thought
funny.
y'all said y'all wanted to step. My bad. Dang.
Shout out to Brinthia Berry, our good friend from the DNC who brought over the Divine Nine.
Y'all come over this way. The light. I feel like the lighting is better.
Watch that phone, honey. That's what I was saying. I didn't want y'all to
Yeah,
watch
don't fall.
right there. Yeah, we got that's our connection to the
Oh.
riser. Okay, so while they're taking selfies, we are back with live election night coverage.
Yeah,
If
look.
you're just now joining us, we are live at the Mecca at HU, Howard University in Washington, D.C.,
Appreciate
where
y'all,
Kamala
man.
Harris is
Peace,
expected
King.
to address a
Peace,
very
peace.
large, lively
Thank you,
step
brother.
dancing crowd tonight. So anyway, we are back at it, and we were talking about how we're feeling. We asked the young people. They
Any
sound
numbers?
like us.
Any numbers? What we looking at?
Well, right now,
Should we even be looking at numbers right now?
Yeah, that's the thing. You know,
I can't help it.
you get like little increments of numbers coming in. I don't know that we'll see. They'll announce on the screen over there, so we'll see when they start projecting states for.
Anytime you hear them cheering, anytime you hear them cheering, that usually means
we have some states
Kamala won a
projected.
state. Yeah.
And then I think the other thing to know is overall, if maybe we can talk overall vote count. Harris right now has 26,965,228 votes. Donald Trump has 30,179,993 votes. And other candidates have 745,000 plus votes. So that's a significant number for the others. Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington, D.C. have all been called for Kamala. She's projected to win those states. And Mississippi, let me start at the top here.
Arizona.
She's projected to win Delaware, too.
Oh, did I skip Delaware?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, honey. You're right.
I voted for her in Delaware today.
You said I made that.
Yeah.
I made that happen.
Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, way to go, Lenard, South Dakota, Tennessee,
pretty on brand.
Texas, West Virginia, and Wyoming have all been projected.
I
Trump.
wonder if we have, because in Delaware, we also stand to get another black woman elected to the Senate, Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester. Has that race been called? Do we have data on that?
I don't see that on Twitter.
Well, I'm going to address her.
Y'all got the official stuff. I got Twitter
I'm
alerts here.
address her as Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester, assuming that will happen. Another state that she won that you talked. Yes.
Has been called with 56.4% of the vote.
So she is officially a senator.
She will be when she's sworn in.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
And in Maryland,
That's
we
right,
also
Delaware.
have another black woman poised to go to the Senate, and
that has
Angela
not yet
Alford.
been called, but it looks like she's winning right now. She's leading with 50% of the vote in, 55.4% to 42.6%. I don't know why it's not called, but she's got a strong lead against former Governor Larry Hogan in Maryland.
Republican governor that she's squaring off against. So if you can't see what's happening behind us, there's a massive crowd right here on Howard's campus who are excited.
It has to be over
see.
20,000, 30,000 people out there.
I would agree. It's a
Serving
sea
food,
of
though.
us, and it looks beautiful.
I think they've been serving food, Tiffany, because everybody over there got quiet and still. They were dancing and all kinds of stuff for a little while.
That is true.
Seems like
They need
the
to pay
itis
another
been setting
line.
over
Maybe
there.
they all went to Chick-fil-A like you.
Or maybe, I was going to say, maybe Lenard is projecting.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what's happening.
They were dancing.
They were doing like line dances and all that.
The wobble.
But they've been here for a long time. They've been here for at least 5, 6 o'clock, dancing from 5, 6. They tired. They ready to celebrate.
So will they
tonight.
stay here the entire time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
She will speak tonight, right? Regardless, right?
Yes, she will come out and address the crowd at some point. But again, I don't think that she will be able to declare anything tonight. And even if she were, I wonder. Lisa, we can confirm that Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester is a senator. Angela said that, but I want to shout out Lolo on the side.
I don't know
telling
if she
us.
could hear. She might not be able to hear us.
Yeah. So,
she needs some headphones. She needs some headphones immediately because she didn't hear us call that race already.
But thank you.
We need to
Keep
get her some
telling us just
headphones.
in case we miss it. So thank you.
None of
But
those
yeah,
states
it's
you
magical.
named, there's no surprises in none of those states. Though.
You know what? I'm going to tell you guys, and they're probably going to laugh at me.
Andrew's driving me crazy.
I'm an optimist. Oh, okay. Well, what did I do?
You know, he keeps.
Oh,
you were saying-
I thought you said
yeah.
I'm driving crazy. Well, I was just going to say, when we did our live show from FAMU on Friday, we had the state director from Harris for President on, and she said she thought that Florida would surprise us, that she thought it was trending in the right direction. But I got to tell you, this is not the right direction.
I told
that's
you.
not what I see.
I told you from jump that wasn't happening.
Thanks, Andrew. That's so kind of you.
I didn't think Florida. You know, Florida, for the people out there who are younger and may not remember, Florida used to be a purple state, which meant it was a swing state. You didn't know which way it was going to go. Ohio, same thing, used to be a swing state, and now they're not the political juggernauts that they once were. Florida is solid red. Ohio is solid red. It's gone Republican the past, I think, 4 election cycles. So we are really looking at a brand new electoral map here tonight. And it's crazy because the entire landscape, the map has been thrown out since 2016. I know we have our brother here from Florida tonight, but Lenard, you'll recall how I feel about Florida.
Oh, absolutely. You called it the
dick of the
country.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Damn.
Wait, the what? Excuse me?
Lauren said, wait.
Lauren, I need to go.
The country.
Calm down, Lauren.
No, I was just, that caught me off guard. I didn't.
Well, there
Oh,
actually
she
is
know that.
data around Florida. I mean, it really
Is
has
that
become.
around Florida being the dick of the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will tell you why.
I did not. That was
I will tell you why.
Why?
Because it has become a safe haven for white supremacists. If you look at activity down there, the FBI has already documented and confirmed that the greatest domestic security threat is white supremacy groups. And that is largely concentrated in Florida, so much so that there was a challenge in the punitive system down there in the prisons, where the prison guards were also members of white supremacy gangs and abusing the prisoners there. So it's prevalent in every part of government in Florida. So yeah, Florida can get castrated, except for Andrew.
Wilding over here.
I mean, she going.
So I'm only
she
picking
done
up
already
every
gave
other
this one.
sentence.
All I ever say is, the craziest people in America come from the Bronx and all of Florida. Tiffany want to castrate the whole Florida up to that.
Tell you.
What were you able to do in Florida, Andrew, that was different than other politicians?
Yeah.
I don't think Florida is solidly red. I think they have beat Democrats into submission in Florida. When you win so much and you then win and you change the laws to favor you, it's hard to compete in a system that is so terribly imbalanced, right? But in our race, I mean, we had to literally, I spent 2 years knocking on doors and talking to people who don't get talked to in politics to convince them, one, that the government was something that should work for them.
Right.
And two, that if I get elected, if it isn't a government that serves you, we're going to bend it so that it does. And if it doesn't bend, then we'll break it and we'll start again so that it meets your needs. And I think we were able to convince a lot of people that that vision was possible. Now, Republicans, again, they've taken the state. If you're Walt Disney World, the biggest corporation in the state of Florida, and a governor literally kicks your teeth in and sets an example for any other corporation in the state, if you step outside a line, like the Gestapo out come and get you, then you start to quell a lot of opposition voices under that environment. That's exactly what Trump wants to replicate in the country. He wants things to happen because he says so.
Looks like
What did he win?
Something else good may have happened.
Now, somebody did text me and they said Iowa. I don't know. They didn't give me no context.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to refresh.
If that were Iowa, that we'd be deafening sound right now.
Maybe.
Somebody just texted me and they just said Iowa. That's all they said.
I'm going to tell y'all right now.
I see 1 minute ago Kamala Harris will. Oh, never
I
mind.
text back and said what happened, but they ain't text me back yet.
I don't have it called yet.
Nate Cohn said that Trump is a narrow but clear favorite to win Georgia and North Carolina. If he does carry those states, Harris would need to sweep Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin to win. A real possibility with a tall order nonetheless.
It is a tall order, but I think she'll hold the blue wall.
They call in some states. This is frustrating.
We're at
Y'all so behind us,
178
they're like little.
Did I tell you she won New York? That's called. Did I tell you?
Okay, that's what I was. That's what I saw a minute ago, but I didn't know if.
Yeah, that's called Rhode Island. Did I say Rhode Island? I can't
So the
remember.
new
Let me use my little handy dandy checklist. I gave
Vice
you.
President Harris now has 99 electoral votes.
Okay.
Donald Trump,
Trump
178.
Oh, so mine is still
So
not
he's about 100 short of.
And the polls still haven't closed on the West Coast, correct?
No, not at all.
Not as of yet.
But none of the battlegrounds have come in yet, right?
Right.
None of the battlegrounds that matter for Kamala Harris have come in.
Well, it looks like Illinois.
Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, of course, is still out.
Let me ask.
Till I was 41 years old, I held elective office. And for me, I almost think it's an instinct that when you see something that's wrong, that you don't like, and it frustrates you so much to see it wrong every day in and every day out, the people who are different are likely to figure out a path to how it is that they shift that thing that brings them annoyance every day. And if that annoyance is greater than an annoyance, means your livelihood, meaning you're sick of watching your mother struggle to pay rent or mortgage, or your father, who suffers from alcoholism because of his frustration on the job that he can never move up,
right,
then the urgency around how you shift the system becomes that much greater for you. So for me, it almost felt like a reflexive instinct that if the shit ain't right, then you do something to make it right.
But how does it make you feel when you started so early, you did what you were supposed to do, you followed the rules, and then you see somebody like a Donald Trump who really wasn't a politician, came from nowhere, showed signs of racism to me and all the different things, grabbing by the pussy and all the things that he said. And it seems like people just say, it is what it is. And they elected him as president. And now he's going against Kamala Harris. That just seems.
I think
fucking insane.
bedfellows, get to bed very strangely sometimes. And in his case, it's so much easier to unite a people around a fight against extinction. Like if you feel viscerally that everything love about a place, and that you want your child to grow up in and also experience about a place, you're going to fight heaven and earth to keep that thing for them because you think it means their future prosperity. If I had a guarantee that if I voted this way, my children's life would be better, they would experience it better, and you'd have a guarantee that was the case, I'd be blindly Republican too if that was the party offering that.
Right. But let me ask you, Angela and Tiffany, how do you deal with the fake news so much? Because people, this is one thing that Charlamagne and Lauren will say. People call the radio, and they don't know what's true or what's not.
That's right.
We say look it up, but when they Google, half the time,
there are sources that
Google
it depends on what you're looking for.
So they don't know how to find what's proper. They hear a candidate, and the candidate's lying.
Yeah.
So they don't know who they should agree. So what do you tell those people? Because they are trying to do their homework. They are trying to do their research, but a lot of the research is BS.
Well, people will disagree with me because they say you can never blame voters. And I'm probably a unique voice in which I will sometimes blame voters. It is a responsibility to participate in democracy. So people who say, well, I don't know how Vice President Harris feels, or I don't know where she stands on something. Her plan is accessible. You can literally go to her website and see where she stands. You can go to Donald Trump's website and see where he stands. And you can make an informed decision about which candidate speaks to you. Now, when you pull out larger and just look at the media landscape, I've been navigating newsrooms for 24 years of my life. Mm-hmm. It has been incredibly frustrating, Envy. I will tell you, my heart is breaking. To watch journalism die a slow death. And the challenge is because there are so many people in newsrooms who don't look like us, who are willing to extend humanity and understanding to people who are, spitting in our face and trying to convince us it's rain. There are people who say, well, my grandmother voted for Donald Trump, and she's not so bad. And those people are producers, and so they're willing to extend humanity to people. When it's lazy reporting, lazy journalism. When you interview people and they say, just today, they said they were exit polls. Well, who did you vote for? Donald Trump. Why? I like his policies. So I'm like screaming, ask why, ask what policies. This reporter said, well, what policies? And the woman just said, all of them. You don't know.
No clue.
Right. You were voting for him for a specific reason.
I think we underestimate how people will forget what you did, they'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I was watching this Asian guy on CNN, and he was saying that he feels like his small business did better 4 years ago when Trump was in office. I think a lot of that has to do with PPP. I think a lot of that has to do with those stimulus checks. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what people are. That's people still remember that energy.
Yeah. Well, there's one person standing in the wings right here that makes us feel a certain way. Errin Haines is a good friend of ours, a brilliant political strategist, or a journalist and political commentator. Errin, we're gonna scoot down Tiff and let her come sit right here because she ain't got no headphones. That's how it's
go down.
We're gonna scoot on down.
Angela, did you talk about New Hampshire already?
No, I did not talk about New Hampshire. You breaking news?
The Fox News decision desk is projecting a win for her in New Hampshire.
How many electoral votes is that?
It doesn't. I don't.
Peace, Errin.
New Hampshire is not a lot of electoral votes, but why New Hampshire is significant is because they lead the primary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we pay so much attention to New Hampshire.
Errin,
so
can I ask
if
you a
you
question?
didn't hear that, New Hampshire was projected for vice president.
How should we feel about this?
The electoral map.
Do you want to tell them what you're looking at?
Oh, the electoral map. Trump 178.
What did you have? What source are you looking at?
This is Google.
Okay.
Who is that?
Where did they pull it from,
Oh, this
brother?
is Google. Well, Associated Press, the AP.
Okay.
The AP.
Yes.
Which
so
you know a little about. She
on the
knows a
ground,
little bit about the
absolutely.
AP.
They have Trump
look, best in the
178,
business.
VP 99.
Look, I think what it means is it is what 10 o'clock.
Okay.
9:43.
So it's 9:43 on Tuesday. Is 61 degrees.
I know that's right.
Keep counting the votes because this thing is not over. I mean, I'm from Georgia. I know Fulton County has not come in. Atlanta has not come in. So we can't even really look at those numbers coming out of Georgia as real right now. Philadelphia is another big city. I just live there. Know that is another county that comes in super late. Detroit is another place that's going to come in super late. So you've got a lot of big cities where we know there are a lot of votes that still haven't been counted yet. And so, this thing is far, far from over. That's what I know looking at this map and also looking at the clock.
Does Trump try to call it tonight?
Yes, he absolutely. He's going to try to call it whether we get to the other side and Kamala got 286 electoral votes. He's still going to try to call it tonight. I think we know that. Like, this is a part of their plan. And then if she ends up picking up additional votes going towards Saturday or even on Sunday, he will say that they tried to steal it. And that's the same thing that happened. It's the exact same playbook from January 6, 2021. We know what it is. We know what we're up against. I think right now, I'll be honest in saying my nerves are bad. I didn't want the gap to be this big. Some outlets are projecting that he won Texas, and it's with 50% of the vote in, and I was hoping that it would be a little closer, especially because we haven't talked much about all the Senate races, but Colin Allred is also running against Ted Cruz in Texas, and I have a sneaking suspicion that if the margin is that big in Texas with Donald Trump, that Colin Allred's got a little bit.
I'm going to hold out hope for Colin Allred. He's a former NFL player, a member of Congress who's trying to move to the upper chamber. I'm going to hope, member of the Congressional Black Caucus, I'm going to hold out hope that he could still, because we have seen those split ballots. And I'll say Texas is another state that they keep promising Texas is going to be purple. It's going to swing purple. We have yet to see that. Every cycle we think it's going to go purple, and we haven't seen it. So I'm actually not as surprised that Texas may go for Donald Trump again tonight.
Absolutely. I think some people, wonder about that and the possibility of that happening just because Texas literally has, the largest, black population in the country, and yet, that does not necessarily translate into the numbers. Demography does not equal destiny, right? That's a thing that we know and that we have seen. And so, Texas, while I think certainly Democrats have made inroads, Beto O'Rourke came very close when he challenged Ted Cruz. And so now you have, Colin Allred certainly within striking distance, but we don't know what's going to happen with that race yet.
It also punctuates, though, Errin, the Latino community as well, because so often you hear the Latino vote, right? And when you disaggregate these communities, there are more than 20 countries of origin. There are different perspectives. It's like if you put all the black people in the world, black folks from Kenya, black folks from America, black folks from West Africa.
They're not a monolith either.
Right. Even here in America, a black person who grew up in L.A. versus somebody who grew up in Georgia, it's very different. And so in Texas, even with within the Mexican population, there are some very conservative Mexicans.
I mean, people's views on immigration are not to be assumed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to say, speaking of immigration, Ohio was just called for Donald Trump as well. 17 electoral votes. That's not super surprising because J.D. Vance, of course, comes from Ohio. But I bring that up because some of the nastiest rhetoric we've heard about immigrants so far, I would say in a decade, was what they've said about folks in Springfield, what they alleged about folks in Springfield. So I just wanted to punctuate this moment with hate can still win in some of these states. But Errin, what are you projecting overall? Will hate win or will love?
I mean, I think that is.
Will we turn the page?
I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, I am not going to sit up here and Nate Silver this thing. I'm not going to do it.
What's your gut say?
My gut says that it's going to be close and that we likely will not have a result tonight.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that there was cheating. That does not mean that anything has been stolen. It means that the votes are being counted. It means that millions and millions of Americans participated in this election, and we need to let democracy play out. That is what I can say for sure.
I have a question for you, Errin. Down here. Hi, I'm Lauren.
Lauren.
So with everything that happened there that we saw in that state and all the rhetoric and all that was being spewed, and the fact that it's going to Trump, what could Kamala have done in the lead up to this point that could have changed that? Is there any I thought they're echoing everything that was said, right? She's on these platforms, she's talking about it, and they still lean toward Trump. How would you have advised her differently then?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely not in the campaign advising business.
Just from your perspective.
No, but what I will say is, it really was not about what the vice president could or could not have done in Ohio, right? I mean, we are talking about the former president being somebody who has been in our national politics for the better part of a decade, right? He is baked in with his voters. His base is locked in. There really is not much that he could do or say for the people who support him that would turn them away. Even, a hateful racist hoax, about legal Haitian immigrants is not going to turn them away. And so that was not a deal breaker for his voters. We know that. He won Ohio. In the past, the issue of abortion was also an issue that was on the ballot in Ohio, literally had been on the ballot. They recently had, the abortion ban that was put in place there. there was also a question about whether that was going to mobilize women in that state. So I'd be very curious to see what the gender gap was in Ohio. But yeah, I mean, for his voters, something like that racist hoax that came up, that was not something that was going to turn them away, and that was and they were not really voters that the vice president was really going to be able to persuade, and certainly was not going to be able to persuade them by saying that his hateful rhetoric was something that they shouldn't support. I mean, he said many hateful, sexist, racist things over the years that have not been a deal breaker for those voters.
Is anybody else nervous looking at these numbers? Because I'm getting nervous. I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
it's too much red for me.
I want to do
but that's how the map fills in.
I
mean,
know,
that's
but
how the map
I'm just nervous now.
I want to do
God is
something.
the best author and finisher.
Right.
There you go.
I want to
I
do
think you have
something
to
to
remember
soothe
that,
their nerves.
regardless of how it goes.
I see the IOTAs, the SG Road.
Yes, and I think
or the homecoming court.
No, it's not the homecoming court. It is some more D9 students who missed it on the first run. They're going to come and make us feel a little better. They're going to make us feel a little better.
How you think the Harris-Walz team feeling right now?
You
You in the war room right now. What you thinking?
I am going to presume that they feel joyful because they're not far from us. They're just feet away from us somewhere here on Howard's campus. It's still early in the evening. I don't think they had the expectation that we would know results tonight. She is in the home of her alma mater. So I don't think that they share in this nervous energy. You know, I don't have nervous energy. Envy, I understand why you do. I think that's, part of the evening. But I'm optimistic about tonight, and I hope that they are as well.
And look, I mean, they knew that this was going to be a brawl. They knew that this was going to be a close election. She had 107 days to put on a campaign, and she has come within striking distance of the White House. I mean, that certainly was not what the former president expected, right? He certainly is wondering why he's even on the ballot with Kamala Harris. But here they are, neck and neck. I mean, this thing could not be closer.
Are they neck and neck, though? That's
well,
all I'm
so
saying.
far, it looks right now, as of right now.
Right, and
right now, Michigan is too close to call. Pennsylvania is too close to call. We always knew it was going to
Just got 10 more. It went up.
Yeah, but
that map is filling in the way that map fills in.
all of that is mostly southern states. You have the entire West Coast that have not. I mean, California
is huge.
How many is it? 40? How many is it?
What you're saying is this looks about white.
No, it's not.
Guys,
Yes,
they're
it
looking
looks
at
about
the
white.
map of all
Oh,
of
you're
the
right, it's
states that
54.
are put in. So they have the red and the blue, and they're getting nervous right now because they see. Look, I'm explaining to them what they're looking at.
It was
for
always going
viewers.
to come down to about 7 states. But you know what we have more of? 7 people because
What's happening,
the
y'all?
Divine Nine have joined us
What's
again. We're going to
happening?
give
What's
you all a mic to tell us who you are, where you're from, and how you're feeling. Just really quickly, we're going to pass the mic down real fast. We're going to start down here. Andrew, you got a mic? Andrew is not listening or he can't hear me.
Everybody's going to introduce?
Just real quick, just like we did a little roll call. You guys are going to pass that mic down and they'll pass this one. Really quick. First name, where you from?
Okay, Trayvon Marlin. I'm from Plainfield, New Jersey.
All right.
Okay.
Fallon Gill. I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Xavier Sterling from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay.
Right.
Morgan Durham, a graduating senior from Michigan.
I heard that.
Destiny Pridgeon from North Carolina.
Hello, I'm Iki Jabril, and I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
I'm Yasmin Edmondson, and I'm from Jersey by way of Brooklyn.
Jersey.
I'm Mackenzie Campbell from PG County, Maryland.
Michael Thomas, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
My name is Cole Walton, and I'm from Joppa, Maryland. I'm Owen Garrick, and I'm from Oakland, California.
My name is Wesley Wilkins, and I'm from Suffolk, Virginia.
All right.
Amazing.
We love it. Good job, Divine Nine. We're happy to see you all tonight. We are grateful for you coming on with us. We'll get back to this show. I like your Madam Vice President, Kamala Harris. All right now. All right. Well, while they
Appreciate
stand
y'all.
here and watch, Errin,
Peace,
we thank you
peace,
so
peace.
much for coming on with us.
Listen, it's been fun hanging out. I mean, y'all are doing the work out here, and I know the work continues even beyond tonight because whoever is president on the other side of this, we have got to keep paying attention to how people govern and how the agenda that the folks that are listening to y'all, how that agenda is fulfilled by. I know y'all are going to keep holding them accountable. I don't even have to worry about that. So y'all are on the case. So that means that is a victory for democracy, and I just salute all of y'all.
We
We'll
salute
keep holding
you.
them accountable till they start jailing journalists. If Trump
Right.
wins.
Lenard is spiraling fast. You guys, when I tell you
I
earlier,
that's a legit concern, though. I mean,
It's not. He already said it.
I know,
Yeah.
no, I know,
I
but
tend to
I'm
believe
just
Y'all
people
see
would
me?
tell me
I can't go there. We gotta figure this out.
But he literally earlier, Lenard was like, "It's gonna be a blowout."
I ain't say all that now. See, you exaggerating. I ain't say all that.
I told y'all, my grandma prayed before we got here. We good.
Look at me looking at you.
Boy.
Don't
Oh,
start,
boy.
because my grandma
Don't start.
watching. Say it.
Don't you start. Leave it
Oh.
alone.
But you know,
Oh.
there is something to that. And just before you leave, Errin, you wrote a column talking about that very thing about if Donald Trump's fear and persecution, I would say, could be a strategy. Why can't Joy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we know that Joy has been a radical strategy for black people, for black women in this country, and so the idea that that was front and center in this race should be no surprise to anyone. And pushing through the fear and the concerns that so many black folks in this country had, because this election is existential for us.
Yeah.
Right? So many black folk, people of color, women, LGBTQ plus people feeling like everything is on the line for them, depending on the outcome of this election. And yet, for us to literally be here, at this rally and just hearing and seeing the joy, just even as the returns are coming in, and we know that people are anxious, we know that people are fearful as they watch that map, just as you're doing over there, Charlamagne. Like, still being able to do that with joy, that is definitely among the most American
So can
things
we
that we've
sprinkle
seen our
some
community
on
do.
Lenard, then a little bit of joy on our.
Oh, I'm just listen. Regardless of who wins, I think America does have to find a way to come together, because one thing I'm realizing is none of this matters, right? The sexism don't matter, the racism don't matter, the anti-Semitism don't matter, the homophobia don't matter.
Xenophobia.
So what are we going to do as a community, as a society, knowing that all of this really does exist among us, and we can't be delusional about it anymore?
But I'm
We've never been delusional, I don't think.
I think that there was a time where I felt more hopeful. It wasn't that I thought that it was completely erased, but I do think when Barack Obama won in 2008 and when he won again in 2012, I had more hope than I did when Donald Trump won in 2016. When Donald Trump won in 2016, I was like, who are these people that I have to work with, that I have to consult with, that I have to.
I think it was more shocking. I don't think anybody ever
was
thought.
stunned.
Speaking of Trump, he just won.
Jesus.
Breaking MSNBC. Donald Trump wins Kansas.
Yeah, I have Kansas. I didn't name it yet because that was expected. But you're right. He did win Kansas.
Yes.
I will just say though, no. I'm just saying because you're right. But I was just like, it's
My
Kansas.
Twitter feed got me up to date.
All of
I
this
love
looks
it.
about white. It's okay right now.
It looks about white,
Yes,
and
yes,
it
yes,
still looked like the Confederates that wanted us
know.
to be represented with 3/5. The point is, I don't know how I am going to feel tomorrow or on Saturday if this election is called on for Trump. I cannot even fathom it. I don't want to consider that again.
How do y'all look at the black voters that said they're not voting for Kamala and they voted for Trump? How do you look at those family members?
I don't have no family members like that.
I mean, it's
broad family.
not real family members.
Look, Angela Rye, I don't even know those
Talking
people.
about all the Trump people, you're like, people in my family have said things like this. Maybe you changed their minds, but I remember specifically.
Maybe
you
I'm
said
in
that.
extended family too. My godbrother did, but
He voted for.
No.
Oh.
He was saying that he thought some of the stuff that Trump did was positive, and then he saw how they were talking about me.
I ain't mean personal family. I meant like
You meant the black family.
greater
our
black
collective
family.
community.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta tell you, I have not met a lot of black Trump supporters. I just haven't. I've met people who said that they like STEMIs or they like PPP until their
Said
friends
STEMIs.
got arrested, or like I've met those folks, or that they thought that he was right on immigration.
Maybe that they weren't going to vote, or maybe they weren't voting for her, but then they weren't going to vote for anybody.
Yeah.
I don't think they're large enough in number, Envy. I think that was such a false media narrative that
Right.
so many people globbed onto and elevated and perpetuated. And it's like, whoa, time out, you guys. Like, these are random sound bites that nobody's bothering to ask a follow-up. Nobody's bothering to say, well, are you registered to vote? Did you vote in the last election? Are you registered to vote this cycle? I would be very curious to see the exit polls. We already know that the GOP has gotten 12% of the black male vote specifically last cycle. There is no evidence that has grown in number or gotten smaller in number. So I'll wait to see some of the exit polls. But
Isn't that normal though? Is it like 8 to 15%
And
of all
again-
black people conservative?
And
Yes.
again, the question is, what do white people do in
Right.
this election? Because white people are the Americans that are voting for Trump, voting for Republicans in the majority. The extent to which his support is eroded among white Americans, not the extent to which he's attracting other people whose votes have had to mitigate, right? The white people who are voting for Trump, like that is the point. But Charlamagne, you also make a really good point about the country coming back together and our politics being about more than just who wins or loses, right? But about our shared values and our shared sense of fate, which seems to kind of feel lost in all of this, right? Like, how do we really get back to that on the other side of this election?
But that's difficult when the other side has been so rude,
hugely
so
difficult,
nasty.
so divided, and so many people who it seems just really don't care about their fellow Americans, right? Like how does that sense of community? How do you begin to foster that?
And I believe that's where the pessimism comes into play now. Because when you're looking at this map right now, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
We really are divided.
But you know what's crazy, though? When I went in to vote today, because I was a little pessimistic, and I went in to vote, and the women who, were there that was helping out with everything, their energy, I was like, it just felt it felt so good. It made me feel like, okay, we got this. And then things change or whatever, so the feeling, changes a little bit. But I'm thinking, when people go into the voting polls and they get that feeling, I hope that in real life, like you were saying, right? Like, you don't run into 1,001 people who support Trump every single day in your real life.
That's right.
But the media makes you feel like that. In real life, when I walked into that poll, I'm like, I hope everyone is getting this, so that they feel good and they feel energized, and you know what I mean?
I love what you're saying, because we have made voting sound like such a burden.
No.
We have made voting sound. People were scared to go to the polls. They were scared of what might happen when they got to the precinct. You know what happened when I went to my precinct? Every single poll worker that was there was a black woman.
Me too.
And I think
and it was the black women. Like, they was like, they.
Oh, yeah.
In most.
They had some hard candy. I didn't ask for any.
They clapped when he came in. It was good.
It was a positive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
did they just call another state?
Yeah, they are.
Trump just got 10 more. I don't know who we won, though.
We're gonna get there. And Errin, we know you got all the deadlines.
I gotta
get his headphones back on.
Yes,
Andrew over there in timeout, coach out.
Andrew is focused.
Yeah, I was going to ask him what he got, but I noticed that he had
quiet.
Yeah, I offered him mine. He is focused on
he
the
put the glasses on twice, took them off 3 times.
Well, while Andrew gets his headphones on, I think that's because he's so used to watching these maps, from his own campaign.
Okay, yeah, that's what he's doing.
Really has a unique understanding of what we're seeing tonight.
Yeah.
As you've been over there studying, Andrew.
Tell us, Black John King, what's happening?
Something happened with the electoral college just now?
So there are reports that are coming in right now around the early, the 10 p.m. closing states. I haven't been able to assess all of those, but let me just describe for a minute, because some people may be confused by what they are seeing around some of the states that have been called. Some of y'all
break down a purple state too, because you mentioned, Tiffany mentioned purple states, and some people are saying, well, what is a purple state? I know red, I know blue.
Yeah.
But break it down in layman's terms.
Well, the purple states are the states that don't go predictably Democrat or predictably Republican any statewide race. So they flip back and forth between Democratic top of the ticket and Republican top of the ticket.
Yep.
But others may have heard this term, the red mirage, and it's less known than we know about the blue wave and that kind of thing. But the red mirage, which is connected to then the blue shift, is the early part of the night. The results that come in tend to favor the Republican Party because of the way in which, because of the order at which votes are counted. So the early counting of the votes may show a Trump lead in certain places, and then the reason why they call it the red mirage is because a mirage doesn't really exist. It leads you to believe you're going to get that red thing, but as the night goes on and the counting continues, a blue shift starts to happen, and that state goes from looking red, or I think some of the networks tonight are using a darker hue of red to suggest leaning Republican, into a blue column. And it's not because there's any cheating that's been done. It's that they've added more votes to the tally, and as they add more votes, largely those that were either mailed in or submitted as provisional ballots that get counted. When they get counted and qualified, they move into the total. And that total then moves what looked like when you went to bed, a state that was red, and you wake up the next morning and that state happens to be blue. It's not because anybody stole any votes. It's because more votes were counted, and then the calculation into the total of those votes have then moved that state to a blue column. So don't be discouraged when you're looking at it and say, oh, I just knew we'd do better. Wait. That's why we've warned people, don't assume that the election is over the day that we vote.
Right.
Give it time for all the votes to be counted, and it looks different.
Well, I'm going to tell you
And
something.
speaking of
They
movement,
need a logo 3
let's
right
just
now.
Scoot down. Don't take your headphones off. Scoot down.
Because you ever been in an
I can
arena?
use
You ever
me. I
been
can
in an
use
arena when a team
I'll
is getting
scoot
blown out? That's how I feel right now.
But that's
at
because
Howard.
it's all like think of if you look at the actual map, right?
Those are
The red
predictable.
states are actually
More
mostly in
southern.
the south.
Right. And
Those
east.
polling locations have closed. You're seeing projections even when there's 0.0 of the votes counted.
So this is usual.
This is absolutely usual.
Remember, we haven't seen California yet. We haven't seen
But it's not just California.
Washington,
Tell me how
Oregon,
2020 looked then.
Nevada.
No.
I think we'll get Nevada.
Yeah.
But while we're moving down, we are bringing on our good friend and
Quentin.
brother rocking his Howard
What was it?
sweatshirt. This
What,
is
what did 2020 look like this
Quentin
time last
James. I'm
So
just
it looks
finished
very
introducing-
similar.
I can't finish
Very similar.
introducing him. This is Quentin James,
How you
the
doing,
Collective
Quentin?
Pack, also Vote to Live, a dear partner of ours at Native
It is-
Land Pod, and I know he's happy to be in joint conversation with the Breakfast Club. This is not on,
Mic's off,
friends.
guys.
Quentin's mic on.
Can we put Quentin's
Test.
mic on?
There
There
we
we
go.
go. Quentin.
Yes.
We need some hope because people spiral in real time. Some people spiral
No,
in
we're
real time.
good.
I'm
We're
not
good.
tired.
We're
I didn't
good.
say y'all.
Talk
Be
to me,
good.
Quentin.
I was talking
Need
about
Tell me why we good,
slide or
Quentin.
something.
Please help
Listen,
Lenard. Look at his
it's-
kneecap up and everything.
It's early, right? So we know a lot of votes are still going to be counted tonight from Election Day. We saw an overperformance today from our folks showing up to vote. Kind of procrastinated, but they did show up. So I think we're going to see these numbers kind of shift throughout the night. And as we told everybody, you've got to be patient, right? It's going to take a while to count all these votes. We want every vote counted. We know there are people still in line voting right now in states like Arizona and Nevada. So let's be patient, count every vote. I think we're going to be all right.
So clearly, the predicted of a dramatic win by either party, there's no state that has fallen one way so far that suggests a dramatic win by anybody.
Everything
right now,
looks on par.
Yeah.
Everything is pretty much on par. I think people have higher, had higher hopes for Georgia. I don't know where the most populated centers are with their total tally. So around Atlanta and in the counties surrounding Atlanta, what percentage of that vote is already in? If we're talking about 40, 30%, maybe even 40, 50% of the vote, know that you have half the state's population of the entire state of Georgia is roughly populated in this area and just around it. And so we need to let those votes get in and be counted. Again, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Pennsylvania. I just want to, on this point, one of the things that Tiff brought up earlier, too, and I think it's so important to contextualize the vote and our folks pushing forward anyway, being resilient anyway. The Philadelphia City Commissioner just said that several polling places were targeted by bomb threats.
Ooh.
We knew about that in Georgia today. We heard that it was, most likely from a Russian actor. These bomb threats in Philadelphia going right to the heart of where black folks are and where elections can be decided. How have you seen that intimidation work against our folks or not at all?
I mean, listen, it's an age-old trick. We knew this was a possibility. It's very disheartening to see it happen in real life. I think
in 2024.
In 2024, we got to remember, right? This is, again, the same tactics used against our people throughout the 60s, this kind of terrorism. The thing that's interesting is there weren't bomb threats in Wyoming or Nebraska.
That's right.
They've been in Georgia, been in Philadelphia, been in places where we know black voters are going to show up and vote. And so I think that also is a little bit of a tell to me that people are afraid of our folks coming out to vote.
That's right.
So they're going to resort to those tactics. But again, I got to give it up to black voters. Before today, over 50% of the black women who were registered to vote in North Carolina, in Georgia, they'd already voted, right? And so I think we're going to see a record-breaking turnout from black women tonight. And we got to recognize that and give it up to black voters in spite of all these threats that we're seeing.
I do have to ask, we talk about Kamala Harris so much, and she didn't have the time, of course, Trump had. Is there anything that she should have done that she didn't get a chance to or that you wish you would have seen her do? Anything at all?
I mean, look, in campaigns you have three resources, right? Time, money, and people. She didn't have a lot of time,
None.
right? She had a lot of money, had a lot of people, but the time issue I think is the only thing I would look at as something at her disadvantage.
Right.
We kind of heard reports today of concerns around black voter turnout in Philadelphia, for instance. She didn't have the time to really dig in there. Again, a 100-day campaign has been phenomenal, but we've never seen anything like this in presidential history before. So that's the one piece. It's just the time issue. I don't think she could have spent, again, more money here or there or had more people organized here or there. The clock.
Can I tell you guys one piece of good news?
She just got 10.
No, it's not even about. It's
Not she
actually
just got
from
10,
what
she just got 10.
what Tiff would normally say is the dick of the country. There is a Florida state attorney who was suspended by Ron DeSantis by the name of Monique Worrell, who has won her seat back. So that is one piece of good news in Black history in Florida to commend and to be proud of. I'm the only one celebrating it. The shout out to Monique. Thanks, Lauren. High five, sis.
Well, I want to say to Envy though, because the way that you're posing the question, it sounds you and Lenard are both like you sound like you're not as hopeful, and I just want to encourage you guys. I know they're both looking.
My cousin texted me and said, "What y'all cold? Why they sitting like that?" I said, "Girl, it's so hot over here."
Well, because y'all are saying
Well,
like
the DJ stopped playing the music. That's number one. There was the energy that was here about 30, 40 minutes ago that's not here no more.
No, I
Go,
still feel
Quentin,
that energy.
Go turn it back up.
I think it has changed.
Quentin, go turn it back
we
up.
get spiritual in music.
Yes,
No.
but it's quiet because they're looking at
They're
the
watching
map.
the projection.
Right, and I just want to
You
encourage
need to
you
stop
guys.
looking at the
The night
projection.
is
I
early.
need to stop looking at it.
The night is early.
Okay.
Charlotte said, "What they get
He
him
making me
food?"
feel down.
Look, he said, "What they get him food?" They got real quiet.
He make me feel bad.
Feel good.
So if we wonder why when we wake up and the Republicans who are right now rejoicing are then sad tomorrow, you can understand that if you're in this mood because you're expecting these things to look a certain way, they go to bed with it assured that it looks a certain way, and then as the votes get counted, they wake up tomorrow and they say the Democrats stole it.
I think
How did they win a race?
I think the only reason why, like, their reaction is probably how some people are feeling because
I agree.
the way that Kamala came in and just
Agree.
she bullied it for so fast, right? The first 2 weeks,
For
first
sure.
day, first 2 days. I think people expected to see that instant gratification
And I think-
right now. It is early.
they are
but-
learning politics.
Yeah, right.
folks-
They learning.
Like they glued the screen back here. Like
No,
they
but
are
that- but
locked
this
in.
is exactly how the process is supposed
Right.
to work.
Let me ask
You know what I would like to know?
Colorado was called for Kamala, expected, but just noting.
I think Iowa. Did Iowa get called? Trump.
Iowa is
Iowa.
not called on my
close.
screen.
I
Right
haven't
now,
seen
Donald
that.
Trump is up 51 to
I
46.
really would like to know where was
42%
Biden
votes for
Trump
40.
this time in 2020. That's what I would
You
like.
can look it up.
Yeah.
I will
Well,
show you.
we didn't know a lot at this time in 2020.
Okay.
We took
We
a
didn't
whole
know.
week practically
Yeah, Saturday.
for us to get to the point where we thought we know the president. I remember we did coverage that night,
did.
and we went to bed believing the Democrat was going to lose.
Yeah, we was real.
We woke up the next morning, and then
Our
a few
whole
days
set also
afterwards,
crashed,
the whole
too.
set, we thought we went to bed and that we had
Literally
lost.
crashed.
So it looked like this kind.
Yes.
Oh, look like this.
I don't have the whole country, but I do know at this point in 2020, Donald Trump was doing better
We
than he
thought we
was
lost.
right now in Georgia. Right?
Yeah.
So he's underperforming his 2020 numbers in Georgia at this point compared to 2020.
So we just need some music and some weed.
Yeah.
What's up?
And also,
This
too,
is
y'all
breaks
said
up.
Fulton County isn't in, right? Not yet?
No.
Fulton County?
You said who?
No.
Yeah,
no,
so
no,
we still
no.
we didn't even get to
Fulton
the ones that
County.
be ordering the hookah. We are, y'all.
I do got to ask a question, too. You know, when you look at some of these elections in these other countries, right,
Yeah.
it's not as long. It's a lot less than what we do here. And I feel like, do you think there should be a cap on the amount of money raised when it comes
Yes.
to... I mean, because, they're raising over $1 billion each, and they're
Yes.
spending money on all types of frivolous stuff. Do you think that we should have a cap on the
Yes.
amount of
Yes.
money that we raise and the amount of time and why?
Yes. Well, a lot of countries do that. France, for example, does
Canada.
that. Yes, Canada, and where you have a limited time of even campaigning. To your point, the money in politics, which, Quentin obviously runs the Collective PAC, which is a part of raising money. But the donor class, as we talked about on this show frequently, is largely white and male. And you can really influence how campaigns and candidates feel and how they move and things that they say. I think if there's a limit, or even if they're publicly funded, you would get down to the meat of policy and what actually matters. Not all of this kabuki theater, not all of this glitter. A lot of money goes on media buys, which,
we know.
Yes. But you say frivolous, but I don't know how frivolous that is because that is how a lot of Americans consume information. That's how they get news, unfortunately. It's not a lot of readers, but we have a lot of watchers. I also think if you are looking at the public funding of some of these campaigns, the process looks different, right? Like we've talked about this on Native Land Pod about having audiences in debates. But you get so much applause that you're missing what the candidates are putting forth to the audience in a very serious way. So yes, definitely I'm for limiting the amount of time for campaigns and also limiting the money that goes into.
I also think it exhausts voters. I think it exhausts voters. The 2 years of this in and out, exhausts us. And if we had a season that we can look forward to where we know it's going to start and there's an end to that season.
I agree.
I'm exhausted right now.
Well, don't be too exhausted yet. You got a couple more hours of coverage. Good, sir. I want to come back to you really quick, Quentin, one with some bad news and one with some good news. The bad news is that even though we'd hoped for a miracle and a Hail Mary in Texas with 77% of the precincts reporting, Colin Allred is lost to Ted Cruz, the incumbent, who is really just not worth a damn, ladies and gentlemen. However, in Maryland, Angela Also Brooks has become the second black woman senator
All right.
to join Lisa Flett Rochester. And you got to feel good about that, Clinton.
Oh, look.
There we go.
Good.
There's no excitement.
Good. Well, let Quentin have this moment.
Oh,
for
go
Angela
Quentin.
Also
Sorry.
Brooks. Collective PAC worked really
felt
hard on
energy.
this.
Sorry.
No, I know. I mean, look, it's historic to put again 2 black women in the U.S. Senate in one election.
Yes.
We know the opportunity that her being there is going to provide to so many families throughout Maryland, but also to so many black candidates around the country.
Right.
Seeing it as a possibility that I can run statewide and be victorious is incredible. And so, again, they're calling out.
We're leading in Arizona.
Yeah.
Right, we're leading in Arizona. Again, let's be patient tonight, but again, let's applaud Angela Also Brooks and the amazing campaign that she ran.
Absolutely.
Being incredibly outspent, to your point. When it comes to black candidates, we have a tough time raising money.
But that's why you started Collective PAC, and that's what I want you to talk about because, Tiff, to your point, and Envy, to your point, is there too much money in politics? Yes, but while it stays, they come up with a really tremendous solution, and you guys funded people from the top of the ticket all the way down ballot.
Exactly.
Talk about that work.
Yeah, exactly. So we launched a Collective PAC in 2016 to really build black political power by raising money. We know money in politics is so important. And so if you're not funding our candidates, then we can't expect them to go out there and compete dollar for dollar against everybody else. And so we had over 100 candidates on the ballot today. Hopefully, most of them will be victorious. But again, this money in politics thing is a real issue. And as a people, we got to organize our money in our politics so that our folks don't get bought and sold by other communities. That's a really big issue for us moving forward.
That's right. Well, we are so grateful that you joined us tonight.
Thank you,
Quentin
brother.
James, give Quentin James a round of applause.
And welcome to Howard. Welcome to Howard.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate it. You know, you might have a little bit of beef down there with Envy. You know,
No, it's all love.
It's all love.
Hey,
Okay, good.
Today, no
We
game
together.
for us.
HBCU love. That's right.
I love it. Thanks, Q.
Thank y'all.
We'll see you. And Andrew is down here being our black John King, so we're going to let him have his mo. He ain't paying
I will say, too,
I'm tired.
I don't believe you
after the first
I'm
night,
tired.
after the
You
first,
tired?
the
Wake
first
up.
night, Trump did call it in 2020. So clearly something must have been happening like this to where he felt confident and
Yeah,
felt like
they thought they were going to win.
We
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
get
yeah.
rid of the Electoral College, but I
keep
will.
telling me that, Andrew. I need you to keep telling me that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
But here's the thing, you guys. I do think it's important to note because normally we do talk about the distinction between what's happening with the Electoral College versus the popular vote. Right now, because of the number of southern states that have been called, Donald Trump is ahead. He's 42 million plus votes to Kamala Harris's 37 plus million votes. So there is a disparity there as well. I do think that gap will significantly close as those West Coast states start coming in, and
Right.
more of the Midwest start coming in. They said that Pennsylvania's too
Yeah, how we
early,
looking for Pennsylvania?
too close
There-
to call.
there's only
Michigan-
about 51% of the vote in Pennsylvania
and
reported.
Michigan's too close
That's
to
it?
call.
Polls close at 8
Where is
o'clock.
it leaning right now? Because
But
I
they
saw
count
something.
Slightly Trump.
Okay, because I saw that and I didn't want to say it.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I know
yeah.
y'all
No,
was
it's
looking
tr-
for that, and I was like,
it's-
I don't want to be the one to say it.
It's slightly Trump, but
Okay.
it should be at this stage of the game. It's the
Okay.
larger, more populous cities that get added into the vote
Right.
tallies
Like
later.
has Philly been counted?
Not
Yeah.
completely.
Normally,
So,
the
Allegheny
urban
County.
centers take a little longer because
and
they're
then
so
from
large.
that, they'll open up early ballots, which they were not able to begin counting until tonight when the polls close.
Oh, really?
And other states,
Depends on the
my
state.
state, they open them and they start to roll them in. So those early numbers, that's how you can have a whole state like Florida, the third largest in the country, produce its winners and losers in the first hour and a half after the polls closed.
So for Pennsylvania, anybody that voted early, they're not
Has
allowed
not-
to open those ballots
until
until 8
the
o'clock.
polls closed.
Wow.
Correct.
Okay.
So as those get calculated and added in, you see shifts in the outcome of that state.
This West Wing report says presidential race thus far shows no surprises on the map.
Put it to your mouth.
For Harris, Pennsylvania looks better. Razor-thin leads in Michigan, Wisconsin. Georgia is concerning for her. Virginia, not a swing state. Shakier than expected. Iowa, more competitive than expected. You'll recall the Seltzer poll.
I'm seeing
everybody.
The bright line being no surprises.
Were we looking out for Iowa?
Yeah,
Iowa
it's
is now
closer than it
I'm
should.
seeing so something I'm seeing on Twitter, and you guys can confirm this over there. Is Trump in Iowa?
He will win Iowa. I didn't
Okay.
expect
You
that.
think so? No, I'm
yeah,
seeing that.
and I also.
Yeah.
But the fact that she is competitive in Iowa
Says a lot.
at this stage, she should not be competitive in a state like Iowa. Iowa has been solidly Republican for the last 3 presidential races. Took a dip into our land with Obama and then came right back out, and it's been reliably. It is not critical to her. It's not even counted by her team as being necessary for the Electoral College.
Right.
It's
so if you
also
play in space,
94%.
Oh yeah, Iowa is,
set.
is called.
Okay.
Right.
For Republicans.
Yes, for Trump.
And it will be. It expected.
Well, I was hoping that it might.
Well,
It's
the
also
poll that
Iowa's
came out
94% white.
It is.
as
Yeah.
well,
But
so.
it's also reliably Republican.
So is Oregon, and she should win Oregon. But we were just hopeful because they had some reports earlier. They said I can't think of the pollster's name. Who
But
they said
the most
she
reliable
always.
one in the state.
Yeah, they said she always gets it right. She called it for. She said, well, she actually didn't call it for Kamala. She said that it was very, very close, and it was leaning towards her, but within the margin of error. So yes, we are now.
Man, what is the hell is happening?
Well, people are.
They just went dead silent.
Well, they're
They're watching reports. They're watching CNN.
Right. So
He said they counting votes.
No, they're counting votes and they're waiting for the votes
Ain't
to be
nobody out
called.
there counting no
They're waiting
votes.
for the votes to be called.
They're watching the screen.
They're watching
That's
the
what he means.
screen.
And turn
Yeah, I
the
know what
music
you mean.
on.
He just rude.
Well, for the people
Turn
who
the
are
music
watching
on.
us
Where's
right
Nigel?
now, I do want to set the scene for them. So
Yeah.
there is still a sea of people who are
Yes.
very joyful. So we hear waves of applause and cheers as they have CNN projected on the screen. And so as
right.
John King is projecting states or showing where Vice President Harris might be leading, that's when you hear cheers. So as we get that breaking news, we will be sure to share it with you guys at home. But it is still a very joyful time
It is.
here.
Tiffany, point out the joy. for me.
Because Charlamagne and Nick are watching.
I'm looking for it. I want-
Charlamagne
No.
and
Where
So
is
glad
the
you're getting to
joy?
see this, Tiff. This is a troll. I'm
Yeah.
telling
No,
you.
I want to see the
Y'all
joy.
No,
Where is the
It
joy?
is-
Wait, he turned it. Look how
It
he
is
turned all the way
No,
around.
but
Look
you're-
at the
Well,
No.
because they're looking
Hey,
out at
what
the
a joy.
Hey,
scene.
Charlamagne, Envy, these folks are as novice to the process as any of us. Many of them
That's
are
true.
students.
That's true.
Right.
They're
Right.
looking at these returns.
That's
They
true.
feel a certain way about what they
Yeah.
want it to look like, and it doesn't reflect what they feel like it should look like.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
It's
if
hard.
we were broadcasting to them, I'd say the same thing, which were hold your horses, calm down, wait, and be patient.
Gotcha.
Because when these votes are counted, you'll see a better reflection of what you thought the earlier part of the night should have looked like,
Yeah.
but it didn't.
Well,
But can we
let's-
take a snapshot of this, though?
Yes.
Because there is, and I know you guys can't see it at home.
Thousands.
Hopefully they're doing audience shots there, but there's a sea of black people
Yeah.
waving the American flag
Yep.
on this historically black university. And just the dichotomy of that,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
That what that flag represents and has represented for us on this campus of black people, when America does still stand poised to elect the first black woman to lead the country. I just think this is a moment in history.
Yeah.
And y'all are down there feeling away.
No, we actually went
feel
down there.
joyful.
We went to the crowd, and there's tears. So there's press over here.
Yeah.
There's alumni. There's students. Me and Lauren actually stuck into the alumni and student section. Was
We
dancing.
didn't sneak.
Yes, we did.
I had called a source and he couldn't.
They kicked us out at first, so just
Yeah.
to let you know, they kicked us out at first. We had to go back. But then there's alumni on the side, and then there's just DMV residents, and they're super duper excited. But like you said, right now they're watching CNN. They're waiting for these numbers to be announced. You just got some more. See that? You didn't announce that one.
Yeah, what are you doing, Lenard?
She got 2.
She got it's 198, 112, y'all.
198, 112.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta figure
But
out.
remember, there's a lot of states that
screens
still have to
is
come
going.
in, so that number will flip drastically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even tripping. None of the battlegrounds are really in
Nope.
yet. You still got North Carolina, Pennsylvania. You
Right.
still want to see what
Well,
Georgia does.
let's talk about something in North Carolina. It might make y'all happy. They had a gubernatorial candidate. It was a brother. named Mark Robinson, and
Yeah, he lost.
He did in fact lose.
No surprise.
No
So for
surprise.
our viewers, you may recall Mark Robinson was the lieutenant governor running for governor, and he was the
Showing
black,
his ass and looking for some ass.
literally, literally.
But that's the one that had transgenders on his laptop or something? What was it?
Is that what he had?
He said that he found
It's like Africa porn or something.
Yeah.
Africa porn.
But he
What?
was talking.
I'm talking about
What
the
are
name
you
of the
talking
site.
about?
No,
Oh my God.
I think that's the name of the site. I don't know.
Seriously.
You guys look up
Angela's
the
not
site.
making
I'm not putting that on my list. What?
I'm looking it up. I'm gonna look it up.
What?
But I
No, that's
What are we
not
talking
true.
about?
No,
That is, she's not making
please
this
tell
up.
them
That is
Wait,
a real
excuse me.
thing.
Africa
So,
porn?
Yes.
That's
so
the name
they
of the site.
So I need one more word other than
I'd like
Africa
to-
porn.
So how
But
does
that's
that
Mark,
fare?
So
Mark
from-
Robinson
Mark
and
Robinson,
porn.
Africa
And then it can
porn.
tell you.
How does that
Thank
fare
you,
for
Tim.
her in North Carolina since the governor won, the Democratic governor?
It should help her.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
It gives you an indication of how voters are voting there.
Yeah.
So if they declared his loss, but again, he has become an embarrassment to the Republican Party. So this
Yeah.
is where you might see some of those split ballots. But that is good.
He wouldn't be embarrassing if he was white.
I think that was
I
some
don't-
of the things that he was saying and doing were, I think, universally.
You think so?
Yeah, deplorable. But I'll say this, Charlamagne, because you brought up something. I think this speaks to it, and you talked about how do we come together after the country, no matter who wins. And I have to say, and this may be controversial to some people, but I actually have no interest in coming together. I really don't. I don't. I have no
F
interest.
the other side?
Wait,
I have no interest in meeting a bigot in the middle. I'm not trying to understand. I know very well their perspective. And if our disagreement, as the saying goes, is rooted in you denying my humanity, I'm not trying to convince you of such things. I say, yes, stay over there. And I respect the honesty. I would rather you look me in my face and tell me how you feel than to smile on my face and feel the way that I know you feel. So I think that is something that we have to have a serious conversation in this country about, because we're not at a place where everybody's like, okay, guys, you guys won this time. We're all going to go back to our corners, even Stevens. No, I think we are. The Civil War did not begin with the first firing, of a pistol. It began long before that. There was this court, and I think we're seeing something like that happen in this country. And then when you broaden that out, Envy, and this is key, when the United States is at war with itself, on the global stage, we look incredibly weak. And so we've already seen threats to our country this cycle. And so I'd imagine Russia might have company this go round, in Iran, in China. All empires fall. America has been a superpower for the long time because of us, because of our bodies. We created this superpower. We are primed right now to be taken out. So this election not only has consequence for policy here domestically, it has consequences for our global standing, and that's a very serious thing.
I agree with you. If I was a political strategist and called me naive, I wouldn't want to just chalk up what we're seeing with the Trump thing to just bigotry, to just racism, to just sexism. I really want to see what he's doing that is moving people, and has been moving people for the past decade.
And you don't think that's racism and sexism?
I think it's got to be a little bit more than that. Or it might be what are Democrats not doing. That's what I would want to know. I can't just say, hey, everybody's racist, everybody's a bigot.
I think that is very true. I think we've heard from our own friends, if we're super honest, even in our own conversations, right, about where there's shortcomings or where we don't feel represented inside of a Big Tent. You know, it like even when you talk about the way that consultants are used, or you talk about the way that candidates have to fight to be seen, even in Andrew's experience. Andrew wasn't they didn't decide that Andrew was the darling of the Democratic Party.
Right.
He fought hard AF to be at the top of the ticket, to be to get out of the primary and to be the Democratic Party's nominee for governor of Florida. That wasn't easy.
Yeah.
You fought to the last day.
And the media had really called it.
They called it for his
woman.
opponent.
I forget what her name.
Wynn Graham.
But
Yeah.
so let's recognize that half the country isn't voting.
Yeah.
Half the people
Yeah,
in the
that's
country
crazy.
who are qualified to vote don't vote.
Right.
They just don't exercise it. So your point around, I want to be with you because I wanted badly to be there in 2016 when I thought my neighbors and everybody who I trusted that was white betrayed me and don't give a damn about who I am and so on and so forth. But the lived experience is much more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
We walk this earth very differently between people. So I can't say and resolve that an election is decided just that way. I think Trump reaches at something, well, that's not even that clever. If you are a person and you don't have a perfect life and therefore you have grievances, Trump has taught you how to complain and make no apologies about it.
And to find some people to blame, even if it's not true.
He complains and then points you to the people who are responsible for your pain.
Right.
And they're the people who are brown and they're black and they're women and they're everybody that's not like you. And so if we were able to run a race trying to build community off of people who got complaints about how fucked up shit is, we'd win too. I mean, we'd lead, we'd connect with people by making that the case, that groceries are too high, this is happening, jobs are being shipped here, and that group is responsible for why you're not living your best life. That's not rocket science politics. It's the politics of grievance. They win campaigns, and sometimes that kind of politics loses campaigns.
Well, to that point, Andrew, I agree with you, but black people do have grievances.
I agree.
And we do have a community that we point to, which is usually white supremacy, but we don't have elected officials that are willing to do that. We don't have elected officials that are willing to challenge that system of white supremacy.
Largely because
I don't think that's true.
They don't speak directly to a lot of stuff. And I'm not like I remember when we did that the interview that you sat in, who was
With
the
the
guy
congressman?
from? Yeah, the congressman from
Florida.
No,
Byron Donalds.
Maybe that was it.
We had to push
They don't
our
speak
elected
directly
officials
to
to even
stuff.
say that America
But
was
that's
a
a,
racist
that's,
country.
that's a Republican conservative. If you're talking about Byron Donalds.
No. I'm talking about Westmore.
Oh,
And I love him to death, but
Governor of Maryland.
I just felt like in all of his speaking, it was very much like high level hope and love, and it wasn't. There were certain things that like he wouldn't even directly say, and I'm like, why?
I actually agree with that.
They have to win elections.
And there is.
But the Republicans do they
But
they
they're
run in
their
different.
shot.
They run in different areas, and they're not up against the same things. We have to, when we're black in a progressive party or in a Democratic Party, we have a double big tent to win over. We have to prove to white folks that we're worthy of election, and we have to prove to black folks that we're down for the cause, and we have to prove to everybody else that we still see their grievances. White folks can come on and say, trust me, little brown person, little black person, I got you and I could probably solve your problems better than you. And if you don't trust me on this, that's fine, because there's a whole bunch of white folks that'll elect me to supersede whatever minority you are of the vote. What I would say is, that what I took issue with is, there are mayors in mostly black cities. There are members of the Congressional Black Caucus, some that are in majority minority districts, which means that it's mostly black or mostly black and brown or whatever.
Right.
But there are also a lot of them who are in white folks districts too, who see issues similar to us, who might have that Black Lives Matter sign in their yard.
I've never
and those folks will absolutely stand with us and say the hard thing. Barbara Lee, who is retiring now, and will be replaced tonight by Latifah Simmons in Oakland, California, is one of those folks. She was the only person that was willing to stand up against the Iraq War, right?
Right.
So we have those members, but they are few and far between, especially if they have
Jasmine
leadership
Crockett.
ambition. Jasmine
I-
Crockett
but-
represents the
but
black
your
district.
point is
The
well
bigger-
taken.
Right.
Yeah, like the
I think
bigger
a lot of
ticket,
people
it's
feel that way.
like I mean, even with
harder
the
to
town
speak the
the
truth.
town hall, and you know when I thought it was great when Charlotte was asking Kamala about like why can't you just say what you will do
Yeah,
for black
fascist.
people?
Call them a fascist.
Yeah, why
Or
can't you
what-
just and she worked her way around it. She
Yeah.
answered it, but she
Yeah.
still had to work her way
Because
around
there
it.
is
And I'm
a
like,
way in which we still have to be in a
Yeah.
politics where we're not the majority who elect you.
In life.
what do y'all think would happen though if there was a politician that was just like, you know what?
Donald Trump.
There,
No, I mean on our
I
side
know
though,
what you
that
mean,
looks like
but
us.
They-
I want to tell you
they
there
would
are
win.
politicians who do that. That's not
They
true.
wouldn't
Andrew.
win.
They
on a
wouldn't win.
bigger
Andrew
ticket,
is not
on a
wrong.
bigger ticket, like
Right.
if
Andrew
Andrew's
Kamala
not
came,
wrong.
That's
if
why people
Kamala
were mad at
busted-
Barack Obama. That's why a lot
Right.
of black
Not
people
win.
said that Barack
Yes.
Obama didn't,
They would not win.
But what you guys are talking about is at the presidential level. And
Yes.
politics is about addition, not subtraction. So
Yes.
you do have to say things to appeal to a broad coalition of
Or
people.
not
but
say
I would
things.
or not say things. But I would challenge you to say there are tons of politicians who do call a thing and speak very truthfully about it. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley is one of those people. Congresswoman Barbara Lee is one of those people. There are mayors, as she referenced.
The problem is
members
that
of
if we
city
could name
council.
check them, then they're not enough.
I agree
And-
they're not enough.
But
but
if
I
we're
just
talking
wanna-
about the majority experience with politics is you're listening to this politician and nothing they're saying
Yeah.
is believable.
Yes.
And that's your lived experience because I had these problems before you got there.
Yeah.
You told me you'd solve them. I'm up to elect you again. and the same problems are still persistent.
Yeah.
Now, one, I try to be honest with people. Anytime I've ever run, it's shared that this doesn't change overnight. This system didn't get here overnight.
Yeah.
That's
If
where I
we're
think we
400
go
years
wrong.
here,
Yes.
and through a civil war that divided the country, it came out of the Civil War, had what, less than 10 years of independence, our ability to run?
Right.
And then the Reconstruction laws got taken away from us?
Right.
Yeah.
And then we get another 100 years, and then we find ourselves in civil rights, and we barely get out of that. That system does not change overnight. It was not invented overnight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it requires a level of patience, sophistication, but also stick-to-itiveness that we're not going to give up on that fight. And so it isn't dependent from one election to another. Movements require us to stay in them in order for them to move.
But I think one of the things, like she said, is it's like when you look at like Barack Obama, right, and you say, wow, we finally got somebody that looks like me.
Yeah.
He's going to do something for my community.
Yeah.
He's going to stand up when the police officers killed the brother for no reason.
Yeah.
He's going to stand up when he sees this. He's going to stand up when
Yeah.
he sees injustice.
Yeah.
And he doesn't.
He
Or-
did.
or
That's
when he
not
did,
true.
Or when
he
he
ended up with Skip Gates. What did they have him do? A beer summit.
But he
he
spoke
called out
up.
racism for a black professor getting in his own house,
Yeah.
getting arrested,
Or
put
they went
handcuffs.
crazy when he
and
said
did-
Trayvon Martin could be my son.
But, and then what did he
right.
end up then with after that? He's got to sit down with white folks as the president of the United States and then retract it practically and make it appear as if, no, your white son would have experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not true. So
Yeah.
when he stepped out, Democrats, Republicans, everybody in between clipped his knuckles and were like, whoa, 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 you're not
Yeah.
that man in this house.
But he did.
You got to be
try.
something different.
But I think to Laura's point, because I understand what she was saying about Governor Westmore, the Democratic from.
And I love him, by the way. I thought he was fired. I think
I
he
do
should
too.
run
Y'all
for
do.
president
Yeah.
at some point.
He-
But I was like, why does he have to
You're
do
I
on.
something like that?
completely
I
understand.
think you're right on.
Right. I completely understand what you're saying. I think Governor Moore is a wonderful person, wonderful human being. I also think he's very politically ambitious. And so he is setting his sights on, I need to continue to build and attract people to my campaign. Sadly, in politics, it's too common a thing where you can profess loudly on what you'll do for everybody else, and you whisper that shit to black folks.
Yep.
You profess loudly what you'll do for everybody else's issue, but you go behind the curtain and say, okay, but black folks, I got y'all once we get in office.
We
so I
did it
agree.
not.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that you do have to challenge those and confront those systems. I don't think we're there yet. We are 14%.
But we are, because she
Well,
did it, right?
Well,
Kamala.
Vice President Harris did, but we're 14% of the population. And so when you're talking about that level, you do have to make an appeal. Now, if Vice President Harris comes out and says, I'm the president for reparations, I believe, I'm going to eradicate the criminal justice system. I am going to right the wrongs of housing. You
Yeah.
know, black folks have been, and this is her chief message that she's banging. She would not have the coalition that she did. She would
But
not
I-
have Liz Cheney. So,
I
but
disagree.
the question I would put to you then is it important for her to get in office and then hold her accountable to our agenda, or do we want her to go out there rah 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 and normalize speaking about our issues at the risk that she may not win an election?
I want her to run the race on the campaign and on the issues that she's running. And the fact that she's the first candidate for president of the United States to have a black male agenda ever is progress.
Yeah.
Obama didn't have a black man's agenda
Right.
or a black woman's agenda. That doesn't mean he didn't do things that benefited our community, but he did not feel at the time that he could run realistically for president of the United States with a black agenda. And said as much when asked about what's your black agenda. He said, my agenda is for the American people, and we all benefit from that. And that had to be good enough for us at the time. Kamala didn't do that. She actually took an added risk
Right.
by saying black men calling us out, and not just that, not superficially. She then put the policy behind it. And it didn't begin and end with jail and drugs.
Right.
I want to point out really quick,
I'm
North
sorry.
just
Carolina?
really quick. Nebraska is in, and I want to say this because I think this is significant. In 2020, Donald Trump won 4 of the 5. This is one of the states that split. 4 of the 5 electoral votes in Nebraska tonight. Donald Trump won 3 of the 5. So 2 of those are going to Kamala Harris. So
Which
that's,
are a requirement for her in order to win the presidency. Because if she won all the blue wall and did not capture those 2 congressional seats out of Nebraska, she still could not have been president. She would be 1 vote short
Electoral
in the
votes.
electoral college.
Okay.
So Nebraska she needed.
So we're
those
looking
2
good.
votes.
She needed those two, but I'm saying in 2020, Joe Biden got
Only
one.
got one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone in I'm on the live chat for the Breakfast Club's YouTube channel. There's over 10,000 people in here, and someone is asking
watching, y'all.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you
for
guys for
watching.
tuning in. Someone is asking if you guys can talk more about North Carolina because it's really close.
Yes, we expected it to be close.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really important for us to note is that
Shakia Harris is who asked that.
What up, Hi, Shakia?
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Hi,
Great she is.
Oh God.
You're so rude.
What?
You're so
Shut up. Anyway, Shakia, we love you. Ignore Lenard. You could say something smart mouth to him.
She ain't ignoring him.
We
She like,
will
you
read
damn
it out
right, I'm
loud.
black. Yeah.
Right. But I think that one thing that's important here is in North Carolina, this has been a state that we have not won
Since
since
Obama.
Barack Obama in 2008. And so Kamala Harris winning this tonight, if she does, it will be another history-making year. And
But
it demonstrates
Go.
it demonstrates that black folks, when they're at the top of the ticket, can capture states that some other folks can't.
Well, I
Okay,
will tell you.
There you go. Turn the music up. God damn.
Stay focused.
I agree.
Oh, I'm
For the
sorry.
folks watching
I
at
agree.
home, they just dropped in Beyonce.
Shakia, thank you for that question.
Beyonce in the background.
We did. She didn't need. She didn't need North Carolina in order to win the race for president in the Electoral College. North Carolina would be icing on the cake for us if we were able to get it, and it is absolutely expected to be close, if it comes over at all.
I knocked on doors in North Carolina on Sunday, so I'm expecting a victory.
Yeah.
You know-
And I spoke at churches.
You know,
You spoke at churches.
Yes, I did.
You know another grievance I think Trump speaks to? I think he speaks to the poor better than
Charlotte, put your mic closer.
The poor,
I think
the
he
white
speaks to
poor, or poor in
it
general?
is poor, period. When you hear somebody talking about, you can't pay your bills, and you can't keep food on your table, and you can't keep a roof over your head, but then he'll mix in, these are the people taking the jobs from you. This is why you can't eat. I think all of that works. I think that
I agree.
Even if
Democrats.
it's not true.
Right, that's grievance politics.
Yeah, but if
They're
it's
the
true,
reason you're losing.
it feels
It's always
true.
pointing to
But I
somebody
think
else.
it's more rooted in this. This is what I think is causing more of a racially diverse coalition to come into the Republican Party, because they're speaking to this a lot more.
They are. It's a mirage, but they are speaking to it.
Daddy, I'm on set.
They have the beauty of being able to say things like, so first of all, at what point of Donald Trump's life does he represent better my lived experience? I mean, the man got $1 million loan from his daddy to start a business. I ain't never seen $1 million. I did grow up with it. I mean, you were rich in our community if you took your family to McDonald's on the weekend for a meal. It was so the fact that he can embody that better than almost any politician is insane to me. But I get it because you're right. Charlamagne speaks to it, and then he tells you who's to blame for it. None of us are ever going to do that, one, because it actually isn't the truth for many of us in our places.
Well, he's a marketing genius, too. Like,
He
we had
is.
Nori, Nori called the radio this morning. He was like, yeah, I was richer. I had more money when Donald Trump. But it's just what Donald Trump has been saying for so long. People start to believe
Not just Trump, Republicans. Like it's mind-boggling to me that since World War II, the economy has always done significantly better with a Democrat president, but they haven't been able to.
And we don't say it, right? Yeah, and we don't celebrate it either. But you're absolutely right. We're the ones who improve the economy. They're the ones who take money from you, give it to the top 1%.
That's right.
But then run on campaigns about you not being able to keep a roof over your head.
Why do
It's so
Democrats act
crazy.
so scary around money and Republicans? Like it's like we scared to. Like I feel like well, this is just my
I agree.
assumption. I feel like Republicans are not afraid to tell you like, look, this is how I grew up, but this is what I got, this is what I've done, this is what I can get you. With us, I feel like we always have to be the like humble, I feel you, I'm still here with you, and I think. There's a lifestyle that people aspire to and want. Everybody wants
Agreed.
to. You watch Trump in your
Agreed.
house for a long time. Everybody wants to live this lifestyle, have this money, and they see him, and he leans into it. I don't know why. Why do we have to do that?
I don't know that on this side of on the Democratic side of the aisle that people are that rich either. Like,
right.
I think the most important thing to understand is like Donald Trump is a failed businessman who is projected riches but not rich at all. And even especially after these court cases and the fines he's had to pay and had to borrow money to pay them. But Kamala Harris on the other side talks about being raised in a middle class household. And she went straight from law school into public service.
But
So
the aspirational
Right.
does win.
Yeah, I'm
When
just
you
saying
tell-
that the reason why there's
Hey,
not a leaning in here is because that would be false. That would not be
No,
true.
but his is false too. His lean into it is
I said
absolutely.
that.
But I think that it's people like to vote for something that looks like a success.
Yeah.
And he exudes success even though all of his businesses crumble underneath his thumb.
Right.
But his marketing suggests
marketing team,
otherwise. His
absolutely.
marketing is, I mean, he owns a company right now that ain't nobody on his platform.
Mhm.
And it is somehow valued that of the same value of Twitter.
Trump Media?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, his
No,
the,
what's
the,
that?
the app
Truth
that he's
Social.
on.
Truth
Truth
Social.
Truth Social.
Hey, I just want y'all to know that Trump is at 210, and the old people in South Carolina is panicking. I'm looking at my group chat.
Well,
Oh,
let me tell you guys.
Where's
The
the
old
group chat
people
at?
in
You
South
on Facebook?
Carolina-
I
No,
you on Facebook?
This is a group chat. The old people in South Carolina.
No
they-
family.
How many green
Hey,
bubbles
hey,
in that
hey.
group chat?
Hey, the OGs is
It's definitely green. I can also
Yeah.
see all this.
OG
No
is
blue.
like,
But
hey,
let
man,
me
these
just tell
OGs.
you guys this.
It look like we in trouble. Trump is overperforming.
Where is he overperforming?
I don't know.
I think that's the question we have to answer. If they can point us to the states where he's overperforming, I think
We
that
haven't
would be
seen
important.
They use
Concern.
the
But
words
but-
like inconceivable. He said this is inconceivable.
But let me ask you guys this. One thing that we've seen, and we saw it happen in Florida as well, Andrew, in 2018, there are several ballot initiatives in states all over the country. One that's up in Arizona is Proposition 139, which is the right to abortion. Right now, that ballot initiative to ensure that there is a right to abortion in the state is overperforming Vice President Harris. Right now, that is yes is a 63.1% of the vote, whereas she's performing at, and I lost. Oh, here it is. She currently has 49.5% of the vote to Donald Trump's 49.6. She's neck and neck, but that right to abortion is overperforming. I'm interested to see.
Overperforming both.
I'm interested to I'm interested to see why that is, because if federally they're able to ban abortion, that state ballot initiative does not matter.
It gets trumped.
It gets
literally.
trumped because of federalism.
But I would argue that most people likely do not understand that.
I know they don't.
And I will say something controversial that I disagreeing with Charlamagne about, him speaking to the poor, and this is what people care about. I'm going to say something that people don't like to hear.
What's that?
Most people in this country are not intellectually curious about a lot of things. And I think Trump's rise to power has coincided with the dumbing down of the American electorate and the confluence of things that led to that. If you ask most people, where are you getting your information from? Most people are not reading papers. Most people are not even curious enough to read a website.
But it's fear. It's also fear. It's the fact that he's saying immigrants are coming taking your jobs.
But you can look and see if that information is true or not. Like I read probably 8 papers every day.
But they
and
can
there are
find
things
distorted
that and then
realities.
when you read the article and then you see what's on television, it is a snapshot of something.
Yeah, but
And
people
so
don't see that. They'll see
that
that.
is my
They'll see schools are closed because immigrants are
That's my
standing in school.
frustration.
But I think
Hotels.
But we can do
immigrants
this
are
all
staying.
day.
But
We
y'all
can
missing
scroll all
one thing.
day.
You
And
don't
not-
have to be intelligent to know that you can't eat.
I
You don't
I
have
agree
to
with
be
that because
intelligent
in
to know
real
that you
life,
can't
people
afford
don't.
your bills.
They don't have had the time to do this because you trying to figure out. Okay, bet. So my kid.
But
gotta
they
go
do
here.
have the time. That's my problem. If you can sit on
If they-
Instagram for an hour, you have the time to look at a
But
candidate.
even
You have the
if
time
they
to participate
did,
in
even
something.
if they did right now with the disinformation of information,
You don't know what's
facts,
true or what's not.
You don't know, and you can find an opinion out there that looks
Yeah, now
legit,
they got another
that
one.
reflects yours.
Oh, that's Angel.
That reflects your view.
People be
I
on
would still push
Facebook
back
sending
on-
all the wrong information.
All the wrong.
My cousin
I
sent
agree.
me stuff
All
from
the
Facebook. I be like, get off the internet.
I said
please.
it to my mother.
Share responsibly.
Get off.
Yeah.
I do want to say, too, there's one other disparity I want to talk about. I know I just talked about abortion on the ballot in Arizona. One of the other things that we haven't talked a lot about tonight are split tickets.
Right.
So
Right.
some people will vote Democrat or Republican at the top of the ballot and then do something different when they go down ballot. One place where we're seeing that, again, is in North Carolina. We talked earlier about the craziness that was Mark Robinson, who's only captured 40% of the vote, to Josh Stein's 55.1% of the vote. But when you look at Kamala Harris's percentage right now, it's significantly lower. She's at 47.8% to Donald Trump's 50.8%. So it's slightly under 3%. There's some difference between them, but the gubernatorial candidate mollywopped Mark Robinson. Would have been nice to see consistency down ballot.
But we talked about split tickets earlier, that there are people who will vote for the top of the ticket and then vote differently down ballot, especially on some of those ballot initiatives. But I still maintain that people do that because they don't understand the process and how it works.
Absolutely.
And I'm not blaming that exclusively on people, voters and non-voters. I think there's a lot of shared responsibility in that. But we have to, at some point, start holding voters accountable for having the intellectual curiosity to at least go out and look and find information. And I don't buy this that people don't have time, because it might be, if they have time to send articles on Facebook, you have time to go to the source. You can literally go to campaigns and see where people.
So let me ask you a question. With an hour before we get to midnight Eastern time, what should we be looking for? What should we be seeing in the next?
What are the states? What are those states that
What's to be coming in now? What should we be looking at? Yes.
I don't know if that we'll see the major states. I don't know that we'll get results tonight from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan.
Well, again, depends on how quickly.
How many people are counting these votes in Pennsylvania?
Let me ask you a question, Andrew. With Trump at 210, what state could come in right now that you'd be like, all right, bro, it's over?
Well, California could come in and he would be less than where she is in the total electoral count.
Oh, so California.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the whole state is that all of his votes will go one way or the other, and
But
it
see,
will
we
go
saw
to
that
the
in
Democrat.
2016, though. I remember when Hillary won Cali, and it was like, oh, shoot.
No. You asked between now and
would-
midnight what
No,
big
for
thing.
him.
He would not have. She would
There
not have more
isn't a
votes
big
than him.
thing that can happen for any of them. It is going to be a state by state. I mean, there will be states that will put huge numbers back in her column.
Got you.
That's when California comes through. But if I were a voter right now wondering about what I should be paying attention to, I would be tracking the Michigan outcome. And again, I think they were at 52% of the vote being counted there. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan.
Wisconsin is they're 1 percentage point difference right now.
What
and it's
percent?
With 56% of
56
votes
is a lot more
I
than
know.
that still
I'm
has
saying
to be
it's
counted.
really
so,
close.
so they will have to continue to watch those, and then I would throw in there Nevada and Arizona.
Yeah. I have a question about, you keep mentioning Nevada. I was listening to CNN earlier today, and they were saying that if Kamala doesn't win Pennsylvania, she doesn't have to worry because she can grab Nevada, and there's Arizona and one other state. How do you guys?
It just depends. So we have to actually look at the map, and we encourage all the viewers at home to do the same. There's electoral college maps, and Lauren, on here too, you can mark. I've been putting the numbers on the little.
I don't have. I've been saying I need a. I started taking notes on my phone. So you were saying Michigan, Wisconsin,
Nevada's battleground. Arizona. You just said Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia.
North Carolina and
looking for these
Georgia,
in real
again,
time while
are
we're
not states that are must-win states for her to win the presidency.
Depending on how the rest of the map goes.
Assuming the blue wall holds,
Yeah.
which I don't have a reason to think that it wouldn't. But if it held, she won't need either of those two states to make the difference for her, other than.
So they just said, I just want to shout out myself because they just said on CNN, Nebraska's fascinating. I said that, everybody blew me off. I did say that.
We just got another text from an OG.
Oh, what is happening on your phone? Somebody
over
take
80,
the man's
so
phone.
over 80 OG.
What'd he say?
Her butt's getting kicked. She can still win with a Hail Mary pass, God willing.
No, they're
Not a
not
Hail
paying
Mary.
attention to the
That's
states.
not true.
Look at
Telling
this.
you what the streets
Look
are saying.
at this map.
It's what the OG.
Look
It's
at
what the
the
old
map.
streets are saying.
Look, what I want you to do is look at.
I
this
believe.
map.
I
Look at
no.
this map. No, and compare it to 2020.
I
agree.
thought
Compared
we
to
had lost, and we went to bed about 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was fully prepared for a Trump presidency when I woke up. And we woke up the next day, the numbers have flipped.
Yeah, yeah,
And-
yeah.
and
in the ensuing days,
So did he.
And they're not.
did
And
better.
it's not that they flip
They
because I
did
do.
all
I-
the
I-
count.
Yeah, I want to
count.
make sure that we're very careful about our language because we're expecting political violence from people that are suspecting that the election is rigged. When you look at the exit polls for Trump supporters, Envy, they're saying that they don't trust the process. Even though they're turning out in large numbers, they're saying they don't trust that the voting process is one built in integrity. Well, we're not saying that now votes are going to flip to her. What we're saying is there are significant states that you need to count to get to 270 that aren't in yet.
Right.
I'm talking about the existing states that right now
course.
look as if they are Trump states, and as the vote continues to be counted and the tally is totaled, they end up in a different column, and they're not ending up there because they're being stolen. They end up there because the vote tallies dictate that that's exactly where they are supposed to be.
Yeah.
The only reason why I keep saying I went to bed thinking one way is because if you're in a mood right now and you're wondering whether or not, we're
That's your
repeating
2020
history,
map.
we are repeating history,
This is
except it's
2020.
2020 history and not
Yeah.
2016.
That's 2020?
Yeah, it's almost they're the same. Look at it. So I'm showing Lenard, turn your computer this way. Tiff is probably looking at it on her phone. Turn your
Lenard, turn your computer.
Well, actually, turn it over that way because I want y'all to come there.
Georgia's a different.
This is 2020.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh,
overlay.
so- okay.
Okay, so now can you shake your shoulders a little bit?
Wait.
What's going on down there? You all right? Oh, watch Lenard dance. He gonna get no.
I thought I heard a little juvenile. Okay.
Oh my God.
You did. You did.
Yeah, you
Hold
heard
up,
it,
Auntie. All right,
You heard a little tiggy.
What happened?
They playing with you down there.
You saw that?
I heard it. I heard it.
I'm trying to focus
I
up
heard it.
here.
I heard it. They
All
playing
right.
with you.
How are you feeling?
I'm gonna send that out to the old people.
Honestly, right now, I feel like I'm learning in
Take
real
the
time
picture of it.
because I feel like I've never paid this much attention
Yeah.
for this long on election night. I think
Agreed.
I go vote, we listen a little bit, go to sleep, wake up, it's whatever. So I think in real time, I'm learning just how these things can slowly progress and yeah.
Yeah.
Hopeful.
I'm learning to watch
Can
this stuff at home.
I
my nerves
honestly, for the last, I would say maybe like 2 weeks, I don't really feel anything. I'm just kind of waiting for whatever's going to happen so I can figure out what I have to do.
We can
because
brace.
I'm at the point in my life
One
where
way or
like
another.
Yeah.
whatever happens, I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm very hopeful.
I know what I
Very-
want to happen.
You're hopeful.
I'm very hopeful. I'm praying. And, you know, with us jumping into politics like we did in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
I have so many questions of why, right?
Yeah.
I think the last couple. We've been doing it for about a
Several
decade.
cycles.
Yeah. But more serious than the last, I would say 6-7 years. But, you know, I have questions like why? Like, why are we still playing with this electoral vote, like I said earlier? Why isn't it not the popular vote now?
Like get
why
rid
do we
of the
play with
electoral
that?
college.
Right, yeah.
I want to see Lauren and Envy run a campaign to get rid of the electoral college.
No, I'm good.
Well,
Right.
You all over there. Why
I got
had
6
to
kids.
get
I ain't got no time.
I just think I think it would be
But
good.
there,
Do it
there
for
are
the kids.
what would be better. There actually are people doing that work
That's
that
true,
you can
Tiff.
join. And Eric Holder, former Attorney General Eric Holder, who was the Attorney General under President Obama, he was posed this question a lot. And, you know, they said, well, what would it take to get rid of the Electoral College? And they said, well, you know, that's a heavy lift. And he said, well, then we have to lift heavy. So his organization is actually fighting to do that.
Yeah.
So you can fund that organization. You can host something for him.
Yep.
You can be a part of it. As long as you're asking the questions why, be sure to have an answer or contribute to the answer. Like,
Right.
you can be a part of the solution.
How
And the other
effective
question-
is it? Is it like, because I feel like with the Green Party situation, like they're it's not effective, but it's there. How
Yeah.
effective,
How
is,
effective
what,
is
is what he is his campaign?
The-
is
Oh,
What Eric Holder is doing?
I
Yeah.
would tell you honestly, I think it's going to be near impossible to get white people to say we will give up our power, and that's
yeah.
that's what will be required.
Oh,
They'll
wow.
have to say we're willing to give up our power.
Right.
But you got to
So in in the state of Florida, we would benefit greatly by a populist vote being able to make a decision. Except that I also know that if I did that, the majority of populated places are Democratic,
Right.
and they will choose Democrats every time in a popular vote. So if your power is derived from people making policies that benefit largely white Republican voters, why would I change
that
my
power,
state?
right.
Yeah,
I'm not giving
right.
that away. So
Right.
I think it's going, and because you got to get 2/3 of states to agree to a change in the Constitution, we better start spreading out and,
I was gonna
reverse
say, how do you use
migrating.
it to our advantage if it ain't going nowhere?
I just really quick, I wanted to just highlight some of these ballot initiatives. Again, Colorado, Amendment 79, the right to abortion and health insurance coverage passed.
And Florida it went down.
Florida, it did not pass. Maryland.
Neither did marijuana.
Oh, wow.
Went down.
Maryland passed the right to abortion amendment, and there's a few others that are still out. New York also passed the right to abortion amendment. So when you guys talk about why, Envy, we have to figure out a way to engage people beyond just candidates. We have to.
Yeah.
So many of these ballot initiatives, there were more than 140, I believe, in 40 plus states, and 57 of those were led by citizens. They weren't led by elected officials. They didn't come down from state legislatures. We got to figure out a way to get people involved. What we do know is the way that we've done it has historically just barely worked. But I think there are a whole lot more people out here in this country that think like us, who are just disenfranchised, who feel like they've never been heard and
Yes.
never seen by the political process. So I'm so grateful to be doing this show with y'all tonight as Lenard zones out, because
No, I'm listening.
I think
You're right.
that we need to be with y'all to figure out how can we make this conversation more pedestrian,
Right.
more accessible, and more tangible, so people feel like there is a pathway to victory for them with building political power.
Do you think celebrity works? Because we were talking about this on the Breakfast Club. Do you
No.
think all these,
No.
getting all these celebrities to speak and celebrities to perform and celebrity
Kamala
endorsements,
had Beyonce.
does it mean anything
hit
though?
me.
Which
Does
is
all that mean
interesting.
anything?
For whatever reason, it doesn't seem like celebrity works for Democrats, but for some strange reason, the celebrity billionaire works for Republicans. Like,
I
why
don't know
did
that it works for
Why did
either.
Elon Musk resonate with people?
I don't think it works for either. But I tell you what they do because I ran a campaign that solicited celebrities to come in and help as well. What they do is they bring attention.
Yeah.
They bring news to
Free press,
stories
earned
that don't, if you're not getting press, they can help get you some. You'll take advantage of that. But it has been surveyed, it's been polled, it's been proven that the most influential voice to change your perspective one way as it relates to who you might support or not support is a person that you know personally.
Yeah.
So we have the most influence over the family we have. We have the most influence over our true friends, the folks who look to you, they trust you, and they believe you. But celebrities bring attention, and I think that's a value to a campaign. But when you think about endorsements, it's the endorsement of the person you know, you trust, you have a relationship with, that's going to move you to vote a certain way or to vote at all.
Right.
It's going to be our family. It'll be the people we know and love.
And I don't think celebrity works on the right either. I don't think there are people who are voting for Donald Trump because Hulk Hogan shows up or Kid Rock shows up.
Maybe
and
not
Or Waka Flocka, who's not even
You think
registered to
Elon
vote.
Musk has delivered votes for Trump by his support?
I do.
So you think there were people who were, I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump. Oh, but wait, Elon Musk supports
think
him.
it's
So now-
free
What about
promo.
the way
I
he
ha-
manipulated
I haven't-
X?
Well,
Yeah, I think it's
that
from
is-
all
is-
day long.
That is different. That's not celebrity.
Listen, I haven't
That
watched
is
it,
free,
but a lot of
free
people
access.
have been raving about the interview he just did with Joe Rogan.
Oh my God, it's all over everywhere.
I haven't watched it, but they're saying they was like, yo, he sealed the deal. He sold me on. I'm not even. I've
Elon
heard that.
Musk?
Yes, I've heard
But
that.
is
a
that
bunch of times.
celebrity or business?
You're saying what now?
Elon
Joe
Musk
Rogan
sat
or
down with
Elon
Joe
Musk
Rogan.
did Rogan. He
Elon Musk did an
Rogan,
interview with
yeah.
Joe
2 days ago, I
Rogan.
think.
He did it like
I
2 days,
see.
2 or 3 days ago.
I
And
got
everybody was saying how they was like, yo, he sealed the deal for Trump. I don't even know what he said.
I would go back to my earlier point about the dumbing down of the American electorate when Joe Rogan is your go-to person who can convince you to vote one way or another, joined by Elon Musk.
Elon Musk didn't just do that interview, though. He's literally changed the algorithm on Twitter so that we're seeing a lot of conservative and misinformation.
That's not against the law? That's not illegal?
I feel like it should be, especially when
It's
he went on
not.
stage and was like, I got $1 million for you to show me that you registered to vote somewhere.
What is she
So
with?
another state was just projected for Vice President Harris.
I don't know, but I know we got a little crazy everywhere. Tiff, the only
Yeah,
professional.
we turned
because
it
we
people down here.
I think that we complicate a lot of these things, and it's kind of
simple.
That's what I'm saying. It's literally about people want to feel like they got more money in their pocket and they want to feel safe. And those are two very simple things that for some reason Democrats aren't able to
But
speak.
why do they believe the Republican who has a track record and a history of saying this is not a thing, or saying this is going to happen, but it actually is not a thing, versus Democratic administrations that have proven over and over again through tax credits, through trying to democratize what's happening? Is she all right?
She's coming to grab me. I'm about to go down there with the people and be down there,
Oh,
and
they
we
said she
can
won
back
Cali.
and forth a little bit. So
Okay.
me and my heels about to trek it down there to be outside with the people for you guys.
You can find some
Take
drugs.
the comb with you.
Be what? What you say?
Don't do that,
Take
you
your
guys.
comb.
Sitting here looking like a white.
Because it can blow. Your hair going to be blowing. See, you always
Oh,
think
that's
about
your
You
rat
looking
tail
like
comb?
white toast. Don't see it like.
You got her rat tail comb.
Don't keep the light skins out of it, Lauren. We was all together till then. We
No,
gotta
I'm
stay
sorry.
Got her
together.
rat tail comb to get up under her
First
wig.
of all,
Nah,
Look,
Lenard,
look,
Lenard,
what's the
Lenard,
matter?
home when you do.
Lauren,
Look,
don't worry. He
look at
just
the
mad.
numbers.
He just mad that he
We
needs
popping
to
some
win.
All
numbers
right,
now.
I'll see y'all when I get to
She
the
won
field.
Cali.
Okay, we can't wait to hear from you, Lauren. We're going to see you down there. Okay.
So
with
now the numbers are
California-
179,
One Cali.
214.
California's in, which
That's right.
is what Andrew was saying earlier, that the lead will decrease once California comes in. She's not ahead, but the lead is significantly decreased with California coming in. So tell all them South Carolinians
I'm about
that
to.
we see walking all over that
But what I did,
world map.
I sent
Hey.
them the map, and I said this was the map in 2020. What I said?
Don't
That was
worry about
fast,
it.
huh?
She came back. She came in updating us on something we already doing. Lauren needs headphones that ain't delayed. Poor baby.
So I'd be curious to know what percent of the vote is in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
So right now, on the map that I have, it says too close to call, 68% in Pennsylvania. And Michigan, too close. Of course, it reloaded while I was talking.
Pennsylvania, for me, I got 67% reporting and 51% for Trump.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
North
Michigan.
Carolina, 86% reporting, 50.9% for Trump. Michigan, 27% reporting, 51.2% for Trump. Georgia, 90% reporting, 51.1% for Trump.
Jesus.
Wisconsin is 60% reporting.
50.4% for Trump.
No, I got 49.9, and she's at 48.4%, which is just a little under 2%. And they're very, very close races. What we need to remember, Tiffany said this earlier as well, some of the last counties to be counted are the blackest and most urban counties because they are significantly larger counties. So those are normally holdouts. They're also the ones that experience the most death threats, the most harassment. And we've seen that across the board, both in southern states like Georgia and, of course, in Pennsylvania, as we reported earlier today.
Well, regardless of the tactics, somebody will win those states.
We shall overcome.
There was an incident at a polling site earlier this week in South Carolina that Bakari Sellers shared with us. He posted it on Twitter, and it was all the poll workers were black women. I'm sure you've seen this. And the white man with the MAGA hat on. He was not supposed to be in there with the hat on. They were trying to ask him to take it off, and he wouldn't. And he physically confronted the black women. I watched that. It was about 6 or 7 black women and this white man, and he got violent with them. And I watched that, and I knew instantly that he would never have behaved that way had those been black men in that room.
Oh, absolutely.
They only act like that when they're
Still got his eye black,
outnumbered.
though.
Good. I felt like all the black women should. The one woman had the cane. I'm like, y'all should have took that cane and beat the crap out of that dude, because I got to assume my life is in danger if you're confronting me like that. But I bring that up to say, one, the threats of political violence are real.
Yeah.
We have tangible evidence of that. But two, these are the people, Charlamagne, that you're saying, what do we do on the other side of this? I have no interest in connecting with that man. I already know who he is. I already know who those pockets of people are. And I wonder how emboldened these folks will continue to be regardless of how this race turns out. That's really what's the main thing on my mind, because we may not know what happens tonight, but regardless of what happens, there is an ugly underbelly in this country that has been unearthed in a way that puts us all in harm's way, I think.
Jim Clyburn said it's going to be Jim Crow 2.0.
Say your mic.
Yeah,
to the
Mike.
mouth.
Yeah.
Jim Clyburn.
Mr. Clyburn said it was going to be Jim Crow 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, do you guys have any concerns about that? Look, we all live in cities where we're going to be mostly safe. They're, progressive cities and black cities. But I'm curious if you guys are worried about family members or whatever happens.
I don't even think you can be I don't think you can be safe in a progressive city.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
No.
Them days are over.
I feel safe. I mean,
Do
I'm
you?
here in the nation's capital. I do. I feel safe.
I don't feel safe sometimes in Jersey, especially for my kids going around. I got to worry about my kids driving down the road, and a big pickup truck with a Trump flag comes and sees him, and what they might do, what he might think about doing. If my son cuts him off by accident, what they might possibly be doing for my son, or same thing with my daughter. So I am very nervous, and I've seen how it shifted in the last, I would say, 10 years. Before that, I didn't get that. I didn't have that as much, but I feel like a lot of times when I see that Trump flag, it's almost like a sign of racism when I see it.
Yeah, of course.
So it does make me nervous regardless of what state I live in or what state I visit. I feel like it's everywhere. And then when I visit these states and I visit these cities and I'm doing shows in these cities and I see people, I was in Sephora the other day. I was getting something for my wife. And a guy walked in with a red Make America Great hat again. And it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It just because it was shocking.
Yeah.
He was just going in there shopping, but that's what that means to me when I look at it, and it means that to a lot of people.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's so triggering. I think
same way.
especially, I think it was irritating in 2016. But after what happened on January 6, 2021, where you literally saw the Trump flag, the Confederate flag, and the American flag all together on January 6th, all of them are triggering to me, but that one especially, because it's like I understand everything that this man is connected to, but Trumpism wins the day for me. It wins the day for me over democracy. It wins the day for me over whether or not we can be equal or not. In fact, I don't want to share my power with you is the message that I feels like they're sending. So I understand exactly what you're saying. I was telling my homegirls, we were two of us were getting ready to go eat in New York. And this man was wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and he passed me once, then he passed me twice, and then he came back a third time, and by that time, Alicia was there. And I was so scared. I was like, does he know who we are? Like, is he coming to attack? I literally just got on the phone just because I was waiting for our reservation at the restaurant. It is so triggering, and it's very scary.
Yeah.
So in a place like, it's in New York, and it's like, in Tribeca, right? It's not like, in the Bronx or the places where, some of the other folks can act a little different. Queens, it was literally right there in Tribeca. And I was like, okay, what's happening? Do I need to get ready to defend
I think
myself.
we
I'm
have
not
to move
condoning
like
violence.
that. I think
Yeah.
I'm not condoning violence, but if you are crazy enough to
Yes.
confront me, I have to assume my life is in danger,
That's
and
it.
I'm
Right.
going to act accordingly. And I think when I saw that man and how he treated those women, I assumed their lives were in danger.
Yeah.
So if I'm in presence and I'm assuming somebody else's life is in danger, I'm going to act accordingly in that case too.
Yeah.
So again, this is something that transcends tonight's election results, this cycle's election results. I just think we have turned a point in this country where the violence will become a lot more ubiquitous than
Now-
what we've seen previously.
Look at Chris.
Now we're at Hampton University
What is he
campus.
doing? Why are you
Contemplating where he gonna move. Contemplating
Oh,
what
We should
country
have
he
the
going to.
Podfather come on. Chris, come up here, Chris.
What were you saying?
While Chris is coming up here, I was going to say, so we're on HU Hampton Howard University's campus.
Yeah.
Will Kamala Harris speak to the crowd regardless of what
Yes.
happens? She is going to come out and she's going to speak to the
Yes.
students and alumni and all that tonight.
I would.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you?
I would wait.
For what?
I don't know.
Well, she has to. All these people are here. She will definitely come out tonight. and
Now,
say something.
I will
we would
say this.
understand.
I will say this. Charlamagne and I were at Hillary Clinton's
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Javits Center.
celebration, and she didn't come out. So I was just asking, she's
This-
definitely coming out.
You know what though?
Kamala Harris
If she was to lose, it wouldn't feel like that. Hillary was a complete and total shock. Like, whoa, what just happened? This isn't.
But she
like,
got the popular
this
vote as
This
well.
isn't. This
Yeah,
isn't.
she
This
had
isn't
3
a complete
3
and total
million.
shock.
You said this isn't?
We're not.
But we
there
don't
yet.
know yet.
We don't know
Okay.
yet. That's what I'm saying. But if
Yeah.
it was to happen,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a complete and total
I-
shock.
You know, it
would
was
be
a bit
shocked.
unprecedented,
Be mad.
Precedent.
unexpected and unprecedented what we saw in 2016.
Yep.
Hillary Clinton was really the first model for that. Like, what do you do? Al Gore was another model for it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't come out in 2000. The evening is.
All right, now what they saying she might win?
All right,
Okay,
they
now
clearly
what's
just
happening?
projected another state for Vice President
Well,
Harris.
And while we're waiting to see what that state is, Chris Morrow,
how you feeling, brother?
who is we call him the Podfather. Tiffany, I was combined the names for me because I always say Podcast Godfather. He owes a Reason Choice with us, and he was over there looking crazy enough for Lenard to be like, look at Chris. So we called him up here. Chris, what's wrong with you, man?
I'm not feeling great at the moment. I gotta be honest.
Show him the overlay of the map, Lenard, so he can calm down.
He doesn't have the old one. He only has. The
I
old
mean,
one.
I've been updating every couple seconds. I mean, I've been wandering around in the crowd. I'm trying to pick up some energy to boost myself up. I'm not finding it.
Tell me what
which
had you
is-
most concerned? Which states
Yeah.
are you? Are,
PA. I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm a Pennsylvania native. I'm originally from Pennsylvania.
Vote today?
Philadelphia. Well, I live in Brooklyn, so I voted in New York.
Oh, damn.
But my mother was at the polls this morning. She wasn't optimistic, so I'm concerned about that. And maybe an hour ago, I think Harris was up 11, and now it's completely swung, and they have Trump up, I think, 2 right now with about 65% of the vote.
2 points.
Yeah.
That was 73% in.
Oh, 73%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I assume Philadelphia has not been counted yet.
No, and that I'm here having a mini existential crisis over there, and I'm like talking to people, and people are like, "These are the rural counties.
Yep.
The cities haven't been counted yet. Don't freak out.
Yep.
There's still a long way to go, so I'm trying not to freak out."
Yeah, don't.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share with you. We went to bed in 2020 thinking that the Democrat had lost because similar maps were coming in until the ensuing days, and the votes continued to be counted, and it swang the other direction, largely because absentee, challenge ballots, as well as many of the urban centers don't come in until later. They're the last in many places to come in.
And states like Virginia, right? Like Virginia right now is 79% in. She's leading by 2 percentage points. That's 13 electoral votes right there, too. So I think that we just have to pay attention to the ones that are too close to call. Pay attention to the urban centers that haven't yet been counted. Those are the larger populations in those states, and then also the West Coast, because
Yeah.
a lot of these states they haven't even opened up closed the doors yet.
Right.
The one thing you showed
but
me
they
on the
just
map
did.
from 2020
Yeah.
was they flipped Georgia in 2020.
That's-
Yeah, Georgia
It don't
was
look like they flipping Georgia.
They're not.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
have to.
You know, they don't have to.
No.
Okay.
I think they could. Right now it says there's 88% of precincts reporting, and he's got just barely a 2 percentage point lead over her.
Again, Georgia's not a state I was putting in the Democratic column. and-
It's a newly purple state. I mean, that was the first time. That was a huge deal that took the work of a lot of people leading up to that election cycle for Georgia to go blue.
But I don't think we know that Georgia's a blue state.
No, it's not. But I do think Georgia is decisively a purple state now.
I think it's competitive for
Well,
sure.
we talked about white folks earlier and states being very white, and that's why they're red. However, Oregon has been called for Kamala Harris as well, and that is very white, and there are 8
They got a live-action Oregon Trail movie coming out. I don't know if y'all excited about that.
I remember playing
that was a hell
as
of a
kid.
transition.
I remember playing that.
That was a
kid.
great game.
Yeah, as a kid.
I'm just trying to find some joy.
I hated when the wheel blew out, the wood wheel.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And you had to shoot the bison.
Yeah.
Whatever it was for
Right.
the food.
I didn't
that
play
was
that.
good. You didn't play that?
Let me ask you guys a question. Was Walz the right pick?
Yes, I think so.
No.
I don't
I
think
don't
it
think
makes
so.
it. I don't
For
think it
sure.
makes a difference.
Yeah, that's
right?
That's true.
It
Vice
could have.
president.
It could have.
I don't think
because
it ever has.
because she was a VP who made a difference for a lot of people.
I don't think she
2020.
did.
I did. I voted. I would have never
That's
voted
true.
for Joe Biden.
That's a
if it
good
wasn't
point.
for Vice
She
President
definitely
Harris.
made a difference for me.
Yeah.
And if she
I
would-
don't think. I mean,
I think Josh Shapiro would have made a big difference.
statistically, they
I
don't
think it would have
make
been
differences.
harmful to her. I think he would have
Really?
been harmful. Yeah, she already has enough baggage with the ceasefire people. I think having a Zionist on the ticket with her would have been detrimental to her.
Yeah, but
His
the ceasefire
policies
people are never going to be on her side until there's a ceasefire. Like they were.
I don't know about that. I think that there are people who can say, I can hold my nose and vote for her. As I don't anticipate something different happening. We had Mark Lamont Hill
Oh, he
on
did say
the
that yesterday.
on our live show from Philly yesterday talk about that. But I mean, I asked, you will recall, I asked Governor Shapiro when we were at the DNC his thoughts on Gaza, and he is very clearly he feels very strongly in support of Israel. And look, nobody is not in support of Israel, but we are just equally in support of a Palestinian's right to life and safety, and the Palestinians' right to exist. I think having somebody who doesn't feel that way or who does not openly project to feel that way, it would have been detrimental.
Trump definitely don't feel that way.
He definitely don't. But
He
the
does
question
not,
was
but
just
if
if
we
Walz
don't
was the right
have
pick.
VP.
And
And I
where's
think Walz
Walz
is-
been? I haven't seen Walz recently. Have y'all seen Walz?
Yeah, he's been out.
He's been out.
Yeah, I
Ms.
agree.
Rye?
I agree with you that
Not
where
covered.
I agree with that too. It's not covered. Where they found Walz is where they should have left Walz,
Damn.
and that was on. No. I'm not saying that's shady.
No,
Listen,
that
was shady.
That was a little shady.
No.
That was a little shady.
No, I'm not saying.
Jesus.
I'm not saying in Minnesota. What people don't understand is that Tim Walz was absolutely campaigning for the VP slot.
Mhm.
As soon as things started moving, he was one of the first, most profound pundits on cable news. They should have left him there. They should have never tried to restrain him.
Tim Walz was on cable news.
He was on cable news as a governor. As soon as Kamala Harris was at the
okay.
top of the ticket, he went on immediately and was defending her. He's the one that came with the weirdo messaging frame. He was very effective on cable news. They sought to restrain him when he got to the top, or when he became number 2 on the ticket, and I think that was a very ineffective strategy. Now, it will be the best thing ever if they pull this thing out.
Mhm.
But I will tell you, and they know this. I've said the whole time. I'm very intrigued by Josh Shapiro. I think the way that he connects with people. I've interviewed him with y'all. He's very, very good and effective.
Right.
But I have to agree with Tiff. We did hear Mark Lamont Hill say on the show yesterday, as you all know, Mark Lamont Hill is a member of the Green Party. He said he's voting for Kamala Harris, and he felt like she sent a strong signal to them by not picking Josh Shapiro.
You know, it
Pretty
brings
sad.
me joy watching people enjoy their food. And
Lenard,
I'm
what is
watching April
happening?
Ryan over there going.
Why are you putting
Chick-fil-A.
April on blast? Oh,
So
my God.
rude.
You see her? She's all the way over there. She is going
Shut
to town
up.
on
Enjoying her
Chick-fil-A.
She probably
is
started
enjoying
it.
that
Hungry.
Chick-fil-A.
Well, I think Charlamagne needs some joy, some more joy, and shortly we are going to be joined by one of the most joyful women I know, and that's LaTosha Brown of Black Voters Matter.
Oh,
so don't
yay,
go
is she
anywhere.
here?
She's in the building.
I'm going to
Okay,
give
yeah, she
LaTosha
told me
my
that
headphones
an
so I can
hour
run to the bathroom.
Okay,
She
well,
not
you
here
take
yet.
a bite. She's
Got the
here.
car.
Oh, she is. We're
yeah,
ready.
Yeah. While you take a bio break.
But you want to come. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, you
want
want to be. And don't get my tracksuit messed up.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
Lord.
You're breaking
Yeah.
the headphone.
Now, one thing about LaTosha Brown,
set is
LaTosha Brown
rigged.
is a realist now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she gonna
don't
tell
play.
you the truth.
So if y'all
She don't
Make
play.
her come sit right here.
I can't.
Oh, Chris Morrow. Okay, Chris Morrow said take his. LaTosha.
Let's get LaTosha and
Get
bring her
LaTosha.
in here.
Chris, you want an
I
edible?
know. Tell her to come on.
Get off. Tell her to get off the phone. We're live. If she were going on any other network,
Come on,
we get
put
off
your
that phone.
headphones
and come.
on,
You gotta
Lolo.
come on.
Can Lolo get some headphones that work? This is not working.
Come.
Chris, you sure you don't want an edible?
I mean, my goodness.
You guys were on federal property. There are no edibles. It's just a joke. LaTosha, come on down.
LaTosha Brown, come on
down.
You on the phone, man.
I mean,
come on, honey. Come right here.
We're
Sis.
live.
Come right
We're
here.
gonna sit right over there.
Thanks, Chris Morrow. Thanks, Podfather. Come sit right next to Lenard.
How are you,
LaTosha.
Sister
Act like
LaTosha?
you love him, even though he's different.
Here you go, LaTosha.
LaTosha Brown. So we are officially
Andrew's
joined.
VP. Wasn't she your VP at SGA?
No, she wasn't, but she's an amazing.
Somebody is waving for the people watching. Someone's
Amazing
waving
professor here at Howard University,
Since they can't
Dr.
see her,
Kenesha
somebody
Grant.
was waving. Dr. Kenesha Grant was waving at Andrew, but we are joined by LaTosha Brown, who
Yes.
runs
Hi, sister.
with Black
How are
Voters
you?
Matter. She runs that with Cliff Albright, and we are so happy to have you on set, LaTosha, because
How you feeling?
Charlamagne has been trying to bring our joy down.
No, I'm just looking at the realist.
So we need some
I'm
joy.
trying to
Make
deal
your-
with
your
reality
mic
here.
close.
Push your mic closer, sis.
Yeah.
Which I don't know
Give
what the reality
Charlamagne
is going
some
to be
joy.
yet. I'm just trying to think about all possibilities and all possible outcomes.
Well, it's still a pathway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's still a pathway. And
Okay.
listen, the bottom line is, for black folk, like, at the end of the day, what do we do when it's easy? At the end of the day, like, I hear it, but there's no major surprises.
Yep.
I mean, I think the only surprise, though, is how in the hell all these millions of people are voting for this man?
Right.
Like, that, we know it, but really what's going to happen tonight, I will say this. Whatever happens tonight is a reflection of this country.
That's right.
That's just the truth. It's a reflection of where we are, what we think about ourselves, and what we think about each other as neighbors. And so that is the truth. We can depend on that.
You guys have knocked on so many doors and made so many contacts with voters, both old and new. LaTosha, what are some of the surprises you saw in the field in some of the states?
And Angela joined them, by the way, just so people know.
She did.
Joined Black Voters Matter.
Baby,
As
Angela
she
was in
calls
these
it.
streets.
She was Nordocking. That's what
Oh,
she calls it.
I messed up. I said Nord docking on a live. I'll never live it down. But I was door knocking.
Angela was in these streets.
Why do you remember
I know,
everything?
girl. I know. So funny.
I think the biggest surprise, there were no real big surprise. I think that my biggest surprise were we were talking to people a few days ago, and they were saying that they were going to vote on, like middle-aged folks, they were going to vote on Election Day. They weren't going to vote on early voting because they didn't trust voting on early voting. So that was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Right? I was really shocked to hear that.
And you heard that in Georgia? Or
I heard that
multiple
in
states?
Georgia, but there were multiple states, right, that there's a lot of trust been eroded from across the country with some of the stuff that Trump has been seeing. And so interesting because we don't think that it's hurtful, but it's been hurtful for the entire process. And so
He won North Carolina.
I wasn't surprised. I said he was going to win. Now, Georgia, I'm
won
still trying to hold a little faith.
Wait, are you saying they projected North
No,
Carolina?
No,
said
they've called it. They've called
Oh, they've called North
yeah, they
Carolina.
called North Carolina.
He's 40 electoral votes away.
That's fine.
Again,
That's quite a distance.
Yeah.
It's quite a distance.
Yeah.
So how you feeling?
Joe Biden didn't win North Carolina.
Right.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm y'all the
We just
experts. I'm
saying.
just here.
How you feeling, LaTosha? How you feeling?
You know, I am, in this moment, shit, I'm scared as hell, right?
There you go. Now somebody want to tell the goddamn truth. All of y'all up here with
No, we're trying to hold on to
Listen.
I'm holding on to my joy. I'm holding on
Listen,
to my
and there's
joy.
I'm holding my joy, but they got nothing to do with me being scared.
I get it.
Right?
I get it.
Like, it requires courage.
I don't want no hope. Where's
Before
the dope?
you got up here, Lenard said, bring LaTosha on because she a realist.
Listen.
He did say that before you got up
That's
here.
right.
Listen,
Envy back.
you know, it is.
Envy needs some
What
joy,
is what
too.
is scaring you? She just said she's
This
scared as
number.
hell.
I think, yeah.
She
the
said
numbers-
she has
the numbers
joy,
scare
but
me.
she's
The numbers
scared.
scare me. The numbers
Numbers
scare me.
scared, see?
You know, Georgia, it's too close in Georgia. I really
Yeah.
thought that Georgia was going to have a different outcome. North Carolina, I said North Carolina. I wasn't surprised by North Carolina. Arizona, I'm a little surprised by it. You know,
Why?
Arizona, I really thought that Arizona, that she would perform better in Arizona.
It's
So-
not
Now,
over
it's got to
yet.
be
It's only
early
51%.
on their results.
Only 51%. It's too close, but it's only 51%.
Okay.
You think he's gonna win Arizona?
Yes.
You think
I
he's
think
going to
so.
win
Oh
Arizona?
Lord.
What are your thoughts
Now
on
I
Georgia?
understand why you scared.
I got to
hell.
say I'm a little disappointed that Georgia.
Oh, I am super disappointed.
Yeah.
Can I ask y'all a question? What happened to
But at
Stacey Abrams? Didn't she have the magical powers to mobilize people in Georgia? Like, what happened?
No, well, let me say, Stacey Abrams did a lot. I never want to take away from what
Oh,
Stacey
she-
Abrams
Oh,
did.
no, that's what I'm saying. What happened to
No,
her?
but I just want to say she
She's
did not
still-
do that work alone. LaTosha has been on ground like for decades. Black Voters
But
Matter.
listen, the sister did her work. And
Yes.
and there's been a lot of groups that have been doing work.
Yes.
But we're going to have to actually say voter suppression doesn't go away because we're working hard. We
right.
actually have to overcome that.
Yeah. Right.
So we're seeing that in the South. This year alone, y'all, it's been over 300 bills been passed around voter suppression. So for all of us, it's been harder this year to go. That's just a reality. And so ultimately, that doesn't make, it's like you moving the goalposts. And you got to jump higher, you got to jump higher. And then when you don't jump that high, then it becomes like a reflection on something wrong with you. We've been working our tails off in Georgia. Right? We've been on the ground doing our work. But when you are purging hundreds of thousands of voters, when you're creating laws and make it much more difficult for people in the process, it has an accumulative effect. So we're going to deal with that, whether Harris wins or not. That's still a reality that we're faced, particularly in the South, which is why we need We need to make sure that we have stronger voting rights.
Who was the guy you were on the panel with in Georgia, the secretary? It wasn't the secretary.
Oh, my God.
Sterling?
Yes, Sterling.
Yeah. So this is a concern of mine. Yeah, he's a jackass. But I want to say this because he did 60 Minutes profiled him. And he said something that I thought was so telling. He said, voter suppression is not real. And neither is, what I'm paraphrasing, but essentially neither is this idea that you're stealing an election. So basically the left is wrong and Donald Trump is wrong.
White folks said slavery was good job.
Precisely.
But
everybody uplifted him. They uplifted him because he did the right thing. He became a hero for doing what he was supposed to do. It's like if I go into a store and I don't steal nothing, I'm all of a sudden a hero because he didn't find these 11,000 votes for Donald Trump. This is my challenge, LaTosha, because I think so many people were so willing to celebrate him, and yet we do still see rampant voter suppression in the state of Georgia. And people think, no, we fixed all those problems. We solved all those problems. So I think it's so crucial what you just said. We are climbing hurdles.
We're climbing hurdles.
Yes.
We're climbing mountains. It wasn't even in 2022. It's matter of fact, in 2022, what we saw, people kept saying, well, see, there's no voter suppression because there's been high voter turnout, right? As if the amount of resources, the time and the energy that we're doing around getting people, making sure that people are voting, making sure that folks have access to the ballot, that's crazy. Right? It's really unconscionable where we're going. So at the end of the day, when we're seeing this, we still have to factor in voter suppression. Regardless of the outcome, voter suppression is real.
Right.
And it's impacting us. And it's like death by 1,000 cuts. You shave off a few here, you shave off a few there, and then you get this ultimate outcome. And so part of what we have always been concerned about is we've got to overwhelm the vote. But what that does is that places an undue burden on us. Because listen, I ain't owning this one right here. I'm not owning this. White women going to have to own this.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. White men going to have to own this. Latino men and women going to have to own this. We're not just going to own this. It is not our responsibility to save this democracy solely by ourselves. My concern is that every single damn time.
Every time.
So we have done the work, and it's been a beautiful, brilliant coalition of people doing the work. But the truth of the matter is America is structurally stuck into racism and will not fundamentally deal with that because at the end of the day, this particular man, we are seeing white supremacy walk around and parade itself right now.
I agree with you, LaTosha. That's why I think we have to stop saying we're going to save the democracy. They're getting the democracy they want. They're getting the democracy they voted for. So we just, honestly, we probably just in the way because this is what they want, clearly.
Yeah, but it's not just about them. We're saving the democracy that we want too. Yeah. At least an element of it, because at the end of the day, we know harm reduction. So part of us, black folk ain't crazy. Yeah. We actually know that this system is racist. We know that this system has not worked in favor of us. We know that it's marginalized. We're sitting here seeing a man with 34 felonies, right? Think about it. In a state that you couldn't even vote, right, with having a felony conviction. Now it is that and they actually were going after folks who were formerly incarcerated folks to get their rights back. But in that same state, this man has 34 felonies and he's running for president. So we're literally looking at the double standard that has always been here. I don't think that black folks are fooled by believing in the system or protecting some democracy that is the democracy in the Constitution. But what we know is that when democracy is not in place, i.e. the opportunity for us to weigh in on leadership, that it don't work well for us. Yeah. When we're not able to put people in place that actually align or at least to protect us, it don't work well for us. When we don't have policies in place to make sure that we have resources for our children, for our families, it doesn't work well for us. So ultimately, there's a level of democracy that we recognize it's not the democracy we desire and we deserve, but it's one at the very least that reduces the harm happening to our community.
What's the biggest hurdle that you see?
What's the pathway, LaTosha?
Let me see what they're called.
What's the pathway?
Oh, I got 187.
187 to 230. What's the pathway to victory for the
Michigan, no, she can still pull this. Michigan, she got to win all that. She got to win Michigan. She got to win Pennsylvania. She got to win Wisconsin. I think Minnesota is a done.
Minnesota's done.
It's done.
She couldn't even win the state that her VP from? And y'all telling me that was a
No, they didn't call that.
Minnesota.
That's not called.
Minnesota.
You just said it was done?
Minnesota.
No, I mean
she
done.
got
like,
Minnesota. She got that. She
Oh,
Minnesota.
okay.
Come on now. Try to make us lose. Come on now.
It's too
Catch
early.
up.
It's too early to call. It's too early to
It's
call.
too early
Okay.
to call.
Envy was asking what's the.
Yeah, what was the biggest hurdle that you see?
I think misinformation is disinformation.
It's a huge
That's
hurdle.
what we were saying earlier.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Misinformation, disinformation, like the kind of the information that is being seeded in our communities, and we can always tell. It's interesting. We're going to some college campuses in Pennsylvania and North Carolina, and we start hearing brothers at a particular age saying the same thing. And when you start seeing patterns, you're asking where you get that, and it's wrong information because it's something different, right? And we kept hearing the patterns. Because there's information. We know, this is documented, that Russia, even right now, that we saw in Georgia, there were 19 bomb threats that literally went to coals of polls in Georgia, right? The FBI put out a statement that was from a Russian, they traced that back to Russian. We've got to be clear, I got Russian packages to my home in 2022, that there are other actors that have vested interest in this election cycle, and they're actively targeting black voters because we are leverage vote. But the truth of the matter is we're not the majority vote. We are the leverage vote, and so we've got to keep that, in order to have the kind of protection that we need, we literally have to have allyship. And so the question is, they're not going to put this on the feet of just black folk. At the end of the day, I'm asking the question. Don't be talking to me about no black men. What these white women did.
Right.
LaTosha, what do you think about things like somebody just posted an interesting data point? Donald Trump just won Anson County, North Carolina. The county is 40% black. Trump becomes just the second Republican to win this county since the 1870s.
You know, I've got to look at what the turnout numbers. That seems like it's probably a turnout issue.
Yeah.
So it may mean, and let me see it. Where is it?
Anson County, North Carolina.
I need to see where it's located because I also am concerned about turnout. Part of North Carolina, I was concerned about turnout because of the storm. Right? When you've gone through a storm, and I know you know this, Andrew, like in an uphill your entire life, people are not really thinking about elections. It's not at the top of their piece. So for me, I would look at it and I would think, I don't think you're not going to find this big exodus of black voters to the Republicans. I do think what you'll see is a turnout issue.
I want to go back to Arizona really quick. And
Let's go back to Arizona.
The reason why I want to go back to Arizona is because right now he's beating her by 0.1 percentage points. In 2020, Joe Biden only won Arizona by 0.3 percentage points.
10,000.
0.3 percentage points.
Yeah,
So,
Arizona is a tough one. And the Latino vote.
Yeah.
Like, it's really the key vote in that area is the Latino vote. So we're going to have to see what our Latino
Do you think that they would have responded positively to the immigration proposals by the Harris Walz ticket? They went a lot more conservative, right?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think they went a lot more conservative, and we're going to see how it washes out. You know what I've been hearing so far, and I haven't had the chance. That's why I haven't had the chance to really look at the data. So I want to be, real with and authentic. What I'm saying, you know, I'm not trying. Like, we got to deal in truth.
Yeah.
If we're going to really take our people to the next level, we got to deal with the truth of it. And we've got to deal with what's the element of what is happening in this country. Because I do believe there's a larger issue. This ain't about just Trump and Harris. This really is a reflection of where we are as a country. Like, ultimately, there's some people that are saying we're going to die on the sword, right, based on protecting white interests at all costs. Right, don't care about democracy. We don't care about patriotism. None of that. At the end of the day, at all costs, we're going to protect white supremacy. This man has insulted he's broken every rule that you can break.
That's right. He got something greater than white privilege.
What he got?
I don't know. I ain't never seen nothing like this.
White privilege. White privilege will cause a civil war. That the majority of folks. No.
But Donald Trump marginalizes the greatest white men. Donald Trump marginalizes white men that got power, white men that got billions of dollars. They cower to him. I've never seen anything like it. Like, nobody knows how to deal with Donald Trump. Like, we keep saying he's a threat to democracy. The DOJ didn't treat him like a threat to democracy. The media don't treat him like a threat to democracy. And voters damn sure ain't treating him like a threat to democracy. I've never seen anything like it.
Charlamagne, how many white men have had that?
I've never none. That's the only one I've ever seen like this.
No. We're saying that, but historically in this country, we have protected all kind of white men doing all kinds of stuff. Epstein, all of them. That was big. Like we've got to be Kennedy. We can go on and on and on in terms of how America protects white men. In our lifetime, we've seen a different kind of reality, so we had a different expectation. But the structural racism that led let me say this: if you protect and support a whole group of people being enslaved, what else are we supposed to be shocked at what you do?
Yeah.
Protecting a Trump? Hell, they done protected a whole lot of Trumps.
But I've also seen
Woody Allen.
I've also seen them make a lot of those white men deal with the consequences of their actions. I ain't seen him having to deal with the consequences of nothing yet.
Well, that's why he running for president.
That's my point.
He literally is scheduled to be sentenced a couple weeks from now.
I agree. Yeah.
Not if this goes his way.
Right.
Not if this
Well,
goes
he's
his way.
not president yet. He still would have to be sworn in.
Ain't none of that happening if he won this race.
No, I think
Hell,
it's a
it didn't
danger.
happen before it was even done.
But I think it's a danger to make it seem like he's bigger than life because he's not. The truth of the matter is, white people in this country have not felt the threat of losing their position in power.
We started
so they're
here.
not protecting.
You're on it.
Yeah,
You are
they're
on
not
it.
just protecting Trump because
You're
Trump's
on
some
it.
damn Superman.
Yeah.
They're protecting what he represents.
They're protecting themselves.
They're protecting themselves. And so ultimately, if we don't recognize that, and they've always done that, I can go historically on all of the black folks who have been killed and lynched and hung, and nothing happened to them. So we talk about what he did. I'm talking about folks who actually killed our people, and nothing happened to them. That came after us, and nothing happened to them. So that's not something new. That ain't nothing new in America. Like what we're seeing is a different level of sophistication around it, and we've not seen someone and we've not seen a level of protecting a candidate in our lifetime. But part of it is because it's not about the candidate. It is about what he represents, and he represents their position in a way that they're no longer going to be the majority of this country. That's a different ballgame.
Well, I maintain that we knew this election was going to be tight, and we know black people show up late for everything. So hopefully,
Well, I hope the Latinos in Arizona do too.
hopefully these black votes show up late, because, man.
Better late than
You
never.
know what? But it bears repeating, this election's loss or win should not fall on the backs of black folks.
Yeah.
Because what it would tell
That's
me
true.
at the end of the day, if we have to go through these numbers, we're going to see that we had a lot of disappointment from white women if it didn't go the way that we think. Everybody's like, we're going to break this 55%. We might not break 52% of the support from white women.
That says a lot.
We don't know it for a fact.
Doesn't it?
It says a lot.
When I tell you I'm not talking to these hoes, I mean it.
Who
I
the
ain't talking
hoes?
to them. Whoever voted for Trump.
Oh.
These white women voting for Trump, voting against their interests, telling their face, you're not going to tell us what we're going to do with our own bodies. The hell you not? They literally have voted to uphold an abortion ban, or to vote against
Well,
it's in North Carolina. The abortion ban, they voted against it, the ballot initiative, but it's neck and neck with Kamala. They voted for Josh Stein, but it was neck and neck with Kamala. I don't get it.
Let me say this. White privilege is like some high-end cocaine.
We don't know.
Say more about that.
No,
We've never
listen,
been
folks,
there.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Like we are in denial
We've
of
never been
how white privilege, they've never been in a space in this nation that literally they have like their protection of every area of society, particularly in terms to the highest offices, they've been protected on that. We are really underestimating, right, how fearful they are of just sharing power.
Yes.
We're not even talking about just sharing power. So ultimately what they're saying, what we're seeing in this moment is that we don't care about any of this and we will give it all. We will burn it all down in order to protect our privilege.
So how
No
come
doubt.
the white people like the Merrick Garlands of the world didn't, go after
He
guys
should never
like
have
Trump
been in that
earlier?
position.
He should never have been there.
Well, so whose fault is that?
The person who put him there.
Which is Biden.
Yeah.
So why are those? I thought those supposed to be the good white folks that's supposed to protect democracy
Well, here's what they miscalculated.
and uphold
Who's democracy?
They miscalculated the fact that they picked him to be a safe Supreme Court justice that they would be able to get past with Mitch
Confirmation.
The
McConnell.
Republican-controlled
Yes,
Senate.
once Barack Obama nominated him, and I think that there was some nostalgia or something where they thought, oh, we're going to put this safe person here to make them feel like we're reaching out and extending an olive branch. Well, extending an olive branch meant that you put someone as the head of the Department of Justice in the J. Edgar Hoover building that continued the legacy of J. Edgar Hoover.
Another thing I learned, because you asked that earlier, Andrew, about what did we learn over the last year. I learned that a lot of people don't even know Donald Trump does things wrong because he doesn't get treated like he's doing anything
Right.
wrong.
True. Right.
It's really just
I think that's LaTosha's point, though, Charlamagne. All the things you said, they were colossal failures.
That's
It was
right.
a colossal failure by the media to not treat him that way.
That's right.
It was a colossal failure by people to not be on the front lines of misinformation and disinformation when technology was moving faster than technology was moving faster than policy. It was a colossal failure of I say voters for not being more intellectually curious about what's happening. I don't think that elevates Donald Trump. I think it just reflects where we are in society, which is heartbreaking. But I still feel optimistic. We don't know where this is going.
I do. We still got a little time.
I do.
Still got some time.
And we still, the big states that we're waiting for have not yet been called. And Andrew raised something good. I think we were all talking, so we didn't hear it. But when you were talking about losing Arizona, Andrew said that he lost, and I put lost in quotes, but lost Florida by 3 points.
0.3, not
0.3. 0.3.
Yeah, 0.3. So elections can come down that close and still not go your way. Every vote matters, it counts. But LaTosha, you brought home, I think, where we started this show about was really this conversation of white privilege and power and what it will do, how it acts instinctually to protect itself.
That's right. That's right. That's
like
right.
a knee jerk.
That's
like
right.
someone hits your knee and you kick hard.
It's been in place for centuries, y'all.
It's
Like,
muscle
it's been in
memory.
place for
They don't have to rehearse it, practice for it.
Right.
It's instinctual that you respond a certain way when your body is attacked. Your body does the same thing. It races to wherever the intrusion is to kill whatever is coming for you.
Right.
Act the same way about power.
Right.
If
I
it
have
is
a
about
question.
to be taken from you, you'll do whatever it takes to keep it.
LaTosha, we were on the phone. I don't know if that means. We were on the phone chatting, and we were talking about how it feels different to you. And I was saying, but this isn't different. And I called Angela, or she called well, somehow we were on the phone with each other. And I was telling her that you were saying it feels different. And I'm like, it just doesn't. This is the same thing that we've always known. And Angela was like, no, it feels different to me too.
Yeah.
At the time, you said I need to sit with it.
Right.
To figure out. I just wonder if you've sat with it, and if you have anything that you want to share tonight about why it feels different this time. And I would put that same question to you, Angela. Like, why does it feel different this time when we really haven't, in my opinion, we really haven't seen anything new?
Oh, I do think we've seen something new. And
Okay.
I do think that is different. Let me be clear. What white behavior does not determine or does not define everybody else's behavior necessarily.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that there is, yes, there is a core group of folk in this country clearly that align themselves with racist, misogynist, sexist ideas. That's clear, right? But what I have seen that has been distinctively different, and then I'll talk about the energy of what I'm feeling as well, distinctively different is, we saw it different even from the Obama campaign. In the Obama campaign, it was this charismatic, brilliant brother that everybody kind of coalesced and surrounded around and were excited that he was going to win. What we saw different with Kamala's campaign has been that people have literally, you saw folks really owning their own identity. That was very different. It wasn't just centered around her. You saw the cat ladies, the childless cat ladies, and the white dudes, and there is a coalition. Let me tell you, whether it's this election or not, there is a coalition of people that are building in this country, literally that the majority is us. Now, whether that's reflected in the box is a different thing. But that's why you got voter suppression. That's why you got misinformation and disinformation. If it's just fair game, there's a majority of them, you ain't got to do all that. So let's be clear.
Does it scare you, LaTosha, that we may not know what that electorate might look like? Like the Republican electorate might look totally different and the Democrat electorate might look totally different than what we're used to.
What do you mean?
Like in the future, like you see Republicans now, they bringing in more black people. They're bringing in
Are
more
they?
Latinos.
I'm going to have to see these. Because let me say this. I'm not sure if that's the case.
I didn't think so either tonight.
No. Not even tonight is not convincing me of that. Let me say this, because I think that there is, anytime you bring more people into any process, the vote spread is going to be greater. That's just math. You white folks, women, black folks, anytime you're going to have a diversity of a voter spread.
Yeah.
That's just, as more people get involved in the process, there's a larger spread. And so I'm not convinced. The other thing is, and we don't want to talk about this because we don't really want to talk about how capitalism works either. And so in capitalism, we have turned America into a big old commercial. It's a big ass commercial that ultimately everything is about marketing. Everything is about marketing. People are even literally making careers based on just marketing. So at the end of the day, what we're seeing is people, I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes and I can tell you if they read or what network they listen to. It's almost, we have done the dumbing down of this nation where people are really not even critical thinkers about things.
Yeah.
That they're literally attaching to particular kind of positions because it makes them seem cool. Or I mean, I don't know if y'all saw the thing, y'all probably even talked about with Waka Flocka. This brother out here, he endorses somebody, he ain't never even voted.
Right.
Like, you never even voted. And so, but I understand because at the end of the day, who is it?
205, 230.
Come on.
Well,
come on.
and I was going to tell y'all, we were having such a profound discussion, but I was going to tell you that we were literally sitting here, and while we were sitting here, Virginia, Washington.
Oh, she took Virginia.
And Oregon.
She
took Virginia. Yes.
Yeah, she
Washington, Virginia, and Oregon have been called since we've been sitting here. But it was such a profound discussion. I did not interrupt.
So now what does that mean, Andrew?
Let's say hi.
It's a
That means it's a pathway.
It's a
Pathway.
Okay.
There's always been a pathway.
It's a pathway.
And it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same
It's
pathway.
We
Same
started with
pathway.
Look, Andrew said, damn it, I
No,
done
Andrew,
told
right.
y'all.
No, it
It's a
remains
pathway.
the same.
No, I know. I'm saying you
Nothing
told
changes.
them. I'm saying I'm agreeing with you.
But
Angela.
so we're still on track.
We're still on
Yeah.
track. Okay, just making sure.
Envy's like, let me look at this map.
Just
Look at it.
making
Look
sure.
at it.
We're
It's like,
25. Just
we
making
need a
sure.
map
Just
up
making
to
sure.
see.
Angela,
y'all.
I'm curious
Come on.
when you hear LaTosha
on,
say
y'all.
why it feels different to her. Does that resonate with you? Is that the same feeling that you're having?
What resonates with me is this
on.
West
This
Coast
West Coast
gangsta
music.
Because you know
I
we
set you
all
up for
about
that.
the sea walk
You better
all
see
over
it.
this electoral
That's what I
map.
think. I really do.
I'm
I
just
still
gonna-
feel like it's
I
we gonna win.
cannot lose hope because you guys don't want to see me there.
You don't have to.
I am refusing to succumb to
Yep.
that. I am.
Oh, I'm with you
refusing.
now.
It's
And
205, 230.
I know.
I'm not tripping no more.
No more.
Yeah.
No more. At least
Yeah.
you acknowledge you
Listen,
finally were
Listen,
tripping.
whatever God got planned gonna happen.
You
He's the
better
best
say
offensive
it.
finisher.
You better
You
say
know,
it. I believe it.
I ride
She
with
gonna
I
win.
ride with the VP.
Give
I've
us-
been
Well,
riding
let me
with
tell
the
you
And
this.
then we're going to wait 24
Latasha, I
minutes
want
for
you.
music off.
Yes, but Latasha, I want you to. Latasha, you are connected to the Most High. I want you to close this out with something good because we know you got to go find some votes. You're not gonna find the votes.
God
Listen,
busy right
don't
now.
tell me to find no
Every
folks
black
in
grandma in
Listen.
America got God phone line backed up.
Oh, they better?
But
Jesus
Oh, they
is
better? I'm
the
clear about that.
yeah,
I
on the
but I'm-
main
yeah,
line on
Before,
freeway and the side.
before you
road.
go there, I do have one question, right? You look at everything online. You look at banking online. We do everything
Everything.
online. Will it ever get to a point where we can vote online, right? Because today,
If
when I
you print
voted
the
today,
receipt.
right, they didn't even look at my ID. I came with my little pamphlet that they mailed to me. They scanned it, and I voted.
Right.
So it could have been you. It could have been somebody else. Who knows who Rashawn is? But will it ever get to a point where we're going to be voting online?
It will if we make it be so. The truth of the matter is, while we voting like standing in line, I can move $1 million on my cell phone. Why I can't vote? There are people actually that are voting online that are abroad. And so we've got to recognize that there are barriers, there are intentional barriers, so people don't participate in this process.
Right.
Because the truth of the matter is, all of America is not participating in the process. What I do know for sure is that there are more Americans that I believe that I run into that really believe like we believe. Like ultimately, that is the truth. And so part of what we got to do is we've got to organize. We've got to get people to really be, even the media, the way that the media has given him a pass,
Yes.
that they have created a false equivalency, like the way that they've had a double standard for her versus him, like all of that has fed into that. They are to be held accountable as too. So at the end, we've got to do the work if we want the kind of America that we desire, or we want the kind of nation. I always ask people, wherever I go, I usually ask people to close your eyes, and I'll ask them, with your eyes closed, what would this nation look like? What would America look like without racism? And most of the time, no matter where I go, 99 to 100%, 99% of the people in the room, I don't care if I'm at a big college, I don't care if I got 10,000 in the audience, I don't care if I got 500. The majority of us have never asked ourselves this question. Let me tell you, racism ain't my damn inheritance. That is not I was not given that. That's not what I'm going to take on. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. But if we're not asking that question, and we're not imagining and thinking about what is going to exist beyond that, right? Because there was a sister, we getting all bent out of shape because of the map and all this other stuff, right? There was a sister named Harriet Tubman that came to the South 19 times with a $50,000 bounty on her head. She believed when nobody else around her believed. I'm one of them. I'm going to believe until they call it.
I'm with you.
I'm going to believe it. And not just that.
Until they call it.
Even when they call it, we've got to recognize we've got more work to do.
Yeah.
That ultimately we've got more work to do. That racism has shown itself.
Yes.
It is alive and well in this nation.
Yeah.
Trump is a prime example of why we do need DEI. He's a prime example of why we need affirmative action. He is the evidence of why we need those things. And so instead of backing away from them, we should even push harder on them.
Yeah.
So that's where we are in this moment.
And right now, you all, just so that we can capture this moment, right now 49 Senate seats have been called for Republicans, 41 for Democrats, 142 Democratic seats have been called, and 173 for Republican. Whoever's the quickest to 218, or whoever gets to 218 has the majority in the House, and whoever gets to 50, of course, in the Senate, depending on who is elected president. Of course, if it's a tie, if it's 50-50, the tie
It's broken by
the tie-breaking vote will go to the president pro tem, who is the vice president of the United States. LB, we love you.
I love y'all too.
Thank you so
The
much.
audience loves you. They
I love
are
y'all. Y'all
great
keep
here.
the faith. Listen, them sisters out there, them brothers out there. Come on. Let's take it to the flow. Go to the closet. Go to the closet, y'all. We'll pull this through.
I think so too.
My grandma would go to the
prayer
closet.
Oh, the prayer closet.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to get the gun.
No, we do not. None of us. We're black in America. We do not condone violence on this
Oh, I ain't
show.
think violence.
We support
I
self-defense.
thought you said she was scared.
Self-defense. We go to the prayer closet.
Self-defense.
We go to the prayer closet, brother.
Are they screaming? What else we get?
Don't know, but what we do know is these Senate seats are nip and tuck, as my dad would say.
There's something happening.
It looks like
there's
the Senate
something happening.
Tasha, you are
we love
my Maya Angelou. I mean, you are just one of the most profound people, and I'm so blessed to know you. And I love every time you come on here and other people get to experience you, because she's an experience.
Yeah.
Like I try to say what you said, but the way that you say it is just so compelling. And I love that all these people feel your energy. Like I feel more joyful having heard what you had to say. And I really think it's a divine covering. That's what you're on this earth to do. So thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate y'all.
You can't go nowhere yet.
Yeah.
No, you
Don't
can't
give it.
leave.
I can't leave yet.
Not yet.
Okay, what we got to do? What we
Well,
got to do?
I just in tribute as well to you and why our community needs more like you. And they exist in families and on college campuses and in neighborhoods everywhere, and certainly in bands, the people who keep the tempo. Right, you got the beat going, but everybody, regardless of what instrument comes in, what comes out, you're one of the people that keeps us left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And I think we need that so bad.
We do. We do.
As a community.
We do.
It doesn't exist in the cult of personality. It's
No.
spirit.
No.
Spirit enters us at different times, and I'm just glad that it stays resident.
That's why we
with
got to
you.
believe, y'all.
Yeah.
We were built for this.
Yeah. I agree.
We do hard things.
Yeah.
We do hard things. So and you can't control what other people do. All we got to do is make ourselves
Do our part.
be a light and do our part. So, we in these streets.
We in
Yeah.
these
We
streets.
in these streets.
Somebody just sent me a message that Democrats are now favored to flip control of the House.
Okay,
Yeah, you know what? I always thought the Democrats were going to get the House.
Yeah, there too many races are not called yet, but I am also going to shout out my state again because Washington State has a blue governor, and Bob Ferguson and Dave Reichert left. He was saying he was going to flip and support abortion. He was in Congress, as you all know, before. He did not win, so that's a little victory. And then Minnesota is too close to call, which I really don't like. That is where Tim Walz is from.
Yeah.
It's too close to
Now, I'm going
call.
to need him. Now, listen, I'm going to need him to deliver Minnesota.
I'm going to need him to at least deliver
I'm gonna
Minnesota.
need him to deliver
respectfully.
Minnesota. Now,
Yeah.
we work
Coach, you better come through.
Come on, Coach.
Yeah.
I need you to come
Yeah.
through. And I think he's a
It
great
will. It will.
I never believed
I
in
think
him.
so too.
Okay, I actually believe that. I believe that.
I never believed
What?
I just
You don't
feel
believe
like
it?
it's
I never
gonna
believed
happen.
You don't believe that?
No, I never believed in Tim Walz.
That we gonna win.
I never
really?
believed in him. No. I never
Oh,
believed.
really?
You know I didn't. I told you.
I
You
know she
said
did.
you
I
don't
actually
believe
did.
I like him
Uh-huh.
as a
You said you
person.
don't
like him.
I like
I
the
never
family
believed
dynamic.
in him.
The good news is it won't matter.
Andrew is
Whatever.
Everybody watching at home. to Andrew Gillum Shade Live. I'm so done with the scene. You guys, Andrew is so fiery.
They've been seeing it though.
Andrew is an asshole, and everybody on the road all the time.
Oh,
He is so
my God. Don't be
shady.
talking about brother. I love Andrew.
No, but I'm
No,
just saying,
we
I'm
gotta
talking about the
tell you.
shade. I love it
It's
too,
not
but he'll.
shade.
Wait,
I want to hear this.
man.
I want to hear this. Why? What's this thing about? Why?
I prefer Josh
What,
Shapiro.
Jamal?
Yeah.
I feel like he had a lot of energy when he started, but it just wasn't sustainable. I never really bought into the whole weird phrasing. Like I thought
Okay.
that
Oh, I
was
like
gonna-
that. I do
No,
like
but I knew it was gonna turn people off because you can't label people weird. Like that's
Well,
not.
they
gonna-
shouldn't be weird. They should,
Right.
I mean, these
But did
people
it
are
stick?
weird.
It didn't stick.
weird.
But
Yeah.
it did
It didn't stick.
It didn't stick.
It didn't
But
stick.
here's the thing:
Didn't
it would have
stick 'cause
stuck
they
if
let
they would
up.
have let right. It would have stuck if they would have stuck his ass back on cable news where we saw him. They should have kept him there, right in that box.
And there's a thing about, and I just think there's a thing about watching old white men. I
actually think he was good in interviews.
Donald Trump
He
is
was
an
great.
old
I thought
white
he was
man.
great.
He got bodied by J.D. Vance in the debate. Which
I mean, he was nervous.
I don't think he got bodied.
think
I don't
he
think
got
it was a
bodied.
good debate, but I wouldn't say he got
He
bodied.
started
He got
out very
bodied.
nervous.
And the reason he got bodied is
slow,
because
LB.
the reason he got bodied is because J.D.
It wasn't
Vance
a good
literally was out there every Sunday morning on those cable
He was
shows,
practicing,
taking those hard
sparring.
questions, getting beat up.
But they put him. They tried to
actually
block
thought
him
he
up.
was good. I thought he was a good candidate. I really did.
I
think he
think
is
I'm
good.
not. It's not over yet, but I do think
He
that
better pull Minnesota.
He
Now, look,
better damn sure
he
pull
better
Minnesota. Sorry, church folk, I'm watching,
Now,
but I'm
we
like,
working with
nervous
you, but
about
he
this.
better-
By the way,
I like him.
and he wasn't for me. He wasn't for us. He was for those white
I like
folks.
him and his.
They ain't buy into
family
it, clearly.
dynamic. I just.
I you know.
It,
I don't know what to say.
it was for white comfort, yes.
But they
No, but he was a no.
No.
He's a he literally he did some.
You
really,
guys-
Let me tell you, it's
Yeah.
not about a
Minnesota's
color
got it
thing.
going on.
guys-
They
I-
could look up, however, and see a white man,
Can I just
Right.
call
Yeah.
a timeout?
regardless of what
Okay.
the issue.
We have Lauren,
Okay.
who is, I think, at the other camera on the riser. Are we calling her up now? Y'all told me 5 minutes. Okay, she looks down, so I think that's a no.
Okay, and
Okay.
you know
Five
what?
minutes.
There's
When-
only
broadcast
5 minutes
over.
left in the show. Are we calling Lauren in or we're not? We
Yes.
are calling her in?
You know, she's been holding up that sign, Lauren 5 minutes, and Lolo's name is Lauren. So I'm trying to figure out why she telling.
She was like, she coming on
So,
the show.
Charlotte, come on.
We need to know what's happening, so somebody can tell
I
us.
can tell you what's happening. That crowd clearing out. That crowd trying to beat traffic.
They are not clearing
they're
out.
not. Lenard,
Everybody
all
is
the people
still.
turn around.
People ain't
Y'all
going nowhere.
watching at home.
That was a. I must be blind.
They are
Hold
not.
on
Y'all see
now.
all them people over behind your
they-
face?
Man,
campus.
that crowd done
They
got
full
thinner than my hairline.
You ain't got no hairline, nigga.
Exactly.
I need direction. Tell us what we're doing.
We are.
We'll go to Lauren, you said?
I'm gonna phone her.
I still believe.
We're going to go to Lauren.
I still believe.
I still.
Okay,
We're
the show
off
I'm
air
over
in 5
I
minutes.
believe.
I believe.
I
We're
still
off
believe.
in 5
Nobody
minutes.
know
We're
what
up
you
for
sound
5
like
minutes.
right now.
That's when she was like, Lauren, 5 minutes. I'm like, yes, Lauren, I see you.
Now
But
listen.
it says 11:55.
I believe.
Yeah, we
Tasha,
right. We
all
are
still
5
believe.
minutes.
What would make you be like, all right, now we got to start dealing with reality? What would
No,
make
no, no, not
Pennsylvania.
We
reality.
dealing in reality now.
No. We're dealing with reality now, but Pennsylvania was shaking me.
What you said about
Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania?
Okay, okay.
It was shaking.
Pennsylvania, we got to win it. There's no doubt about it. We can't win this without Michigan.
And
Pennsylvania has to be in the
She don't
column.
get
Michigan
Yeah.
has to be in the column. We walk away with those three. I'm good tonight.
I agree.
Would
She
Shapiro
needs
on the ticket have
Minnesota.
delivered her Pennsylvania?
I don't know about
Yes.
that because it comes with other
Wait a minute.
consequences.
If he don't deliver it and he wasn't on the ticket, that says something about him too.
Yeah.
He's the
That's
governor.
true.
So let me be real clear. He better come through
That's,
too.
I think
Yeah,
that's fair.
everybody better
I think
come
that's
through.
fair.
So you expect all Democrat governors to deliver their state?
I do. I
Everybody
expect
not
Democratic
to
governors
show
to deliver
off.
their
Everybody.
state. That's
Yes.
good. Yes.
I like
Absolutely.
that tip.
Absolutely.
And the blue wall.
Everybody
yes.
better come.
Absolutely. If you're the governor of that state, deliver it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I
That's
also think
a
in
really
the big
good
scheme
point.
of it,
Michigan
the vice
then,
presidents
too.
don't matter. We are not walking in the ballot box and saying, well, that vice
I
president
don't agree with that.
really is. The only time I've ever seen it Maryland was Sarah Palin.
No, it mattered for me with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
It definitely
Okay,
did.
so
I
you
voted
think
for
you would have
agree.
voted for
Kamala
Trump?
I wouldn't have voted for Trump.
You
but
would not have, right?
But it still matters.
It would not, you would not have changed your vote
Okay.
based off who the vice president is. And my point is no one does.
Can
No
I
one
just
does.
say, I want to correct something. There is some disinformation floating
Can't
in our
wait to see
chat.
it.
People are suggesting that DJ Envy is high AF because he is bopping his head to music that isn't playing. I want y'all to know, y'all
The
cannot
music is
hear.
playing. Why are you
standing
but there is, that's what they
I
said.
just
He's
came back from
standing
the bathroom. I was.
Yes.
That's why.
He's also,
But they can't hear.
It's
But there's a
also
lot
easy
of
to be
music
restless
playing, and he's a
on a
DJ
night
in the
like this.
background.
Some things can
Yes.
be true, though.
LB,
He might be
LB,
high.
let Mayor Reed come say hi real quick before we leave. This is
He could come here. He could have
well,
my
but
head.
then at least that way we have
Okay.
another headset.
Right.
But I
Hello,
was,
how you doing,
especially with the
all
music
right?
on.
Please,
But
King. How you
just
doing?
Go
come
sit
on,
down.
sit
Go sit
down,
down.
come
Don't
sit
care.
down. But this is
All right,
Mayor's.
love y'all.
Love
You
you,
leaving?
sister.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
But
I'm
don't go
leaving.
far because
I will. Okay, but we
may
keep
be
the faith
prayer in
now.
4 minutes.
I was
Latasha,
just told.
right here.
I was
Keep
just
the
told
faith.
the vice president is about to come out.
Very
Okay.
good. Well,
All right.
so before that
Okay.
happens, we're
Yes,
going
no,
to
go-
invite Mayor Reed on.
Don't
He is
go far, Tom.
All right.
the president of the African American Mayors Association. Just here really quick to say hi to us before we go to Lauren
Lauren,
La Rosa,
we may not get to
hopefully.
Lauren
I'm not
before
going
the
any
show is
direction.
over.
I don't think we're gonna get to Lauren.
Yeah,
we ain't
They-
getting Lauren.
they-
Sorry, Lauren.
We're just
Yeah.
saying hi
Y'all
really quick.
said Lauren and Nicole over there.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I think she wanted to too.
What's up, Mayor
we have
Reed?
one of
She
the best
partied. She danced.
positions.
She
We
did.
have one of the
Welcome, man.
best positions on
Pull
the
your mic up.
Always good to be with y'all.
It's good to have
see
you,
Mayor
brother.
Reed. How you feeling?
Hey, I feel good. I feel good. I expected a long night. That's what we got
Why
right now.
about Alabama didn't come through for Vice President? Because Tiff just told us it was on all of us. What happened to Alabama?
Wait a minute. Alabama was done before we got up this morning.
Hello.
I know. It was
Hello.
good.
That's why we were
It's
going
been
up.
that way for about the last
love Tiff's
century,
questions.
2,
Listen to
3.
But honestly, what would it take? Because everybody always says, I say this all the time, everybody always says the South is red, and I always counter, the South is red until it ain't. And we have seen Georgia turn into a purple state. What would it take in Alabama?
You have to have more people move into the state,
like that.
both black, white, and brown, come
Okay.
into the state to kind of change the narrative.
A reverse migration, pioneering
Correct.
again.
Yeah,
really.
you have to have that. That comes from job growth. That comes from people relocating. That helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have that. Now, you can't have Florida, I mean, Florida has gone now red in a way we wouldn't have expected in a different kind of way. So you don't want that. And now we look at
Yeah.
Ohio, places that.
Well, it's the capital of white supremacy increasingly. So
Hey, well,
our migration has been of folks leaving Ohio who may have been law enforcement officers, to go back to one of y'all shows that y'all did with Byron, where he said, we see all the law enforcement coming to Florida because they see an embracing. No, they saw immunity from prosecution for anything that they do in the pursuit of their job, and now they're protected.
So really quick, our show is actually technically going off air, but we started a few minutes late, and we have Breakfast Club host Loren La Rosa, who is ready to go live from the Riser. So we're going to her now?
You guys
All right,
All right,
we're cutting to Lauren now.
Can we hear her?
We should be able to hear her.
Lauren.
Hey, can y'all hear me over
Where you
there?
at?
Lauren,
I'm
can
right
you hear
here.
us?
Lauren, you there?
I can hear them.
Hey, okay, well, how is it feeling over there, Lauren?
Wait, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay, how's it? Okay,
over there.
Let me tell you. Okay, so first of all, I heard Charlamagne say that the crowd was clearing out. That is not true.
Exactly.
They're excited. They're literally stuck like glue. The way that we were up there, where we were like kind of sitting on the edge of our seats, like, oh my God, what's about to happen? What's about to happen? That's what's happening down here. When you hear them yell, it's any wind in blue, especially Kamala, of course. When they get quiet, it's not good news. But no one's going anywhere. I think one thing that is worth pointing out too is even when they bring CNN on the screen, everyone's watching the smaller, lower screens in any small wins. Like when she won Washington, that wasn't on the big screen, it was on the lower third. And people started yelling. I'm like, why is everybody so excited? And I saw that on the lower third. Like they're literally glued to their seats when they're standing up. And I think that Kamala maybe, like, I'm starting to see people near her stage. I don't see.
Yeah, they said she's coming up soon.
That's right.
She's coming up soon.
So it's really close down here, y'all. It's the same way that we were up there, but it's like a group thing down here.
Yeah.
We love it. Well, thank you, Lauren, for being there for us. And
Of course.
y'all,
Have a good time down here.
I think you know that we are officially done with our coverage.
Well, Charlamagne walked off set.
Oh yeah, that's true. So maybe we should wait.
Well, thank you guys so much. We got to do the Breakfast Club in the morning, so we
Yes, y'all gotta
we're
get-
leaving here, taking a nap, and then we're going straight to the station to finish this off. So
Man, I'm so
appreciate you
glad.
having me. I appreciate
So
it
glad
so much.
we were able to
You going
share
back to
this.
We're going to do it from D.C.
Oh, good. Okay.
So thank you guys for having me so much. We've been up since 4 a.m.
I could-
so we haven't
I
slept
could
at all.
imagine.
Thanks for the invite. Really appreciate it. Angela
It was
Rye
great
called me.
having you guys.
I wasn't going to come out. I was like, I'll broadcast
I
from the
heard.
city. And she said, you better bring your ass down here
Get
now.
down here.
She's like, what you need,
Get
it's
down
going to
here.
Let me
happen.
tell the truth. The truth is, he actually talked to their team last week and said that this is something that they absolutely shouldn't miss. So thank you
It's
so
smart.
much for the way that you guys have engaged in political discourse, opening up this space for so many folks who look like us, black and brown folks. And it's just a joy. So thank y'all for being
thank
fam.
you so
and
much.
thank
Had
you for
such
doing
amazing. This was like a homecoming, a big family.
Yeah.
So it was great to see
More to
everything.
come.
Music was great, and just talking politics was wonderful. Like I said, we've been up since 4 o'clock, so I am
Get
tired.
your rest. We right behind
There's no
you.
drinks here, so we just had some water. So I'm about to go to sleep, take a nap. But thank you guys for having me.
Hey,
Pleasure meeting you.
Envy.
All right, brother.
Oh wait, here's Lenard. Lenard, you
We're
want
wrapping up, buddy.
parting words? Because you left when we were.
We've
And
got
DJ
parting
Envy
words.
said really profound things.
My parting words are God is the best author and finisher.
All right.
All right.
We'll
So you
take-
niggas don't lose hope. You niggas keep hope alive, goddammit. All right?
Yeah, this is
Keep
another
hope
answer.
alive.
Okay.
That's the new Reverend Jackson. Keep hope alive.
Regent.
Regents. Oh.
Mayor, say goodbye to the people before we sign off.
Hey,
Give them
look.
encouragement.
Listen, I'll just say this. Thanks for all the work y'all have been doing this entire season. Appreciate what you guys do in the Breakfast Club. Big fan there for everybody. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be the next couple of days. So
Couple days.
it's
Did
not
he not
over.
say
That's my closing remark, Mayor. It's not over.
It's not over.
And
Don't
Mr.
count it
Mayor,
over.
you did not say Native Lamb Pod. You said
No.
the Breakfast Club.
You just said the Breakfast Club. It's Breakfast Club and Native Lamb Pod.
I said
Thank
both.
you.
No, he didn't. But
No,
I'm
I
gonna give
said y'all's name.
We will run the tape back. And
Oh,
and
y'all want the
verify.
tape back on me?
Yes.
Okay.
But not tonight.
All right, not tonight.
We're getting ready to receive, I think,
Sign off yet?
possibly our president.
I'm going to stay here
All
and
right.
watch KDH.
Well, there are 0 days until Election Day.
Here.
We're here.
We actually technically the day after Election Day on
Right.
the East Coast, but on the West
outside.
Coast, some states are still being called. We're mostly waiting on Nevada. So y'all stay tuned. And
Stay tuned
we'll be
to-
back soon. Welcome home, y'all.
Welcome home,
Welcome
y'all.
home.
Thanks for rolling with
Shout out to
God
the
bless
Breakfast
you.
Club.
Oh, God
Shout
bless
out
us
to our
all.
whole production team. Shout out to
Yeah.
our partners
Dylan.
this season.
Lauren,
We brought it
Nick.
home this season. Yay.
Shout out Thea. One time
Lauren
Thea
Hansen,
mentioned.
Yeah.
Nick Carter.
Dylan.
Be safe, everybody.
Yes.
Thank
Good
you guys
night.
so much. Lolo, all the girls from PDP.
God bless.
Yes, God bless you and your families. We out.
Thank you for joining the natives. Intentional with the info on all of the latest. Rod Gillum and Cross connected to the statements that you leave on our socials. Thank you sincerely for the patience. Reason for your choice is clear. We're so grateful. Took the oath to execute roles. Yeah, faithful. Preserve, defend, and protect the truth. Even if painful. Welcome home to all of the natives. We thank you.
Welcome home, y'all.
What's
Welcome
up,
home.
sis?